people, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to party. All the people in the front, run in the front. Come wine your body. We are West Indies, everybody. Sing. We are the West Indies. We are the West Indies. We are the West Indies. We are the West Indies.
You're full of energy, you must can breathe. Fling up your hand, them jump to your feet. The party make the vibes complete. Caribbean, so we dance in the street. Party stand, wave your hand. Make me see you, every woman and man. Jump up, jump up, jump up. Everybody, make me see you, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. We are party from the daylight. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Everybody, let me see you unite. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Here not for the vibes, it's right. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
We are the West Indies. 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 West Indies bring unity to the Caribbean. We rally round each other, and that alone make us strong. One goal in mind, win, lose or draw. We all play as one. If you're proud of your country, let me see you put up your hand. Barbados,
We got it. St. Vincent, we got it.
St. Kitts,
We got it. Trinbago, we got it. Jamaica,
Guyana,
St. Lucia,
Antigua,
Dominica, Grenada.
we are the West Indies. 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 We are the West Indies.
Gillespie. Has won the match for the West Indies. The West Indies team run onto the oval, and one of the great results in Test match history has just been witnessed here.
West Indies.
Sure, sure.
We are the West Indies.
That's right.
We are the West Indies. Turn it up to the top, it's time to jump up. People, are you ready? Windies in the land, just put up your hand. It's time to party. All the people in the front, run in the front. Come wine your body. We are West Indies, everybody. Sing. We are the West Indies.
Hello, yeah, okay. Am I talking to the stations? Good. All right. Hello, stations. We expect to have a good night tonight. No cutting out like last night. We've got that technical problem sorted. So we're going to start in 2 minutes' time. 2 minutes' time. We're starting in exactly 2 minutes. Thank you. Oh, we are the West Indies. Oh, we are the West Indies. Ninety seconds. 90 seconds. Sixty seconds. 60 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. $20 seconds. I'll count the last 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to I almost said Arnisville. Welcome to Warner Park here in St. Vincent. It's the Arnisville is not St. Vincent. Arnisville, we're actually in Warner Park St. Kitts. Let me get that right. So sorry about that. We're in Warner Park St. Kitts, and welcome to the third T20 between the West Indies and Ireland here in Basseterre. Ireland have an unassailable 1-0 lead, courtesy a thrilling win in the first match, followed by the washout last night. Only once before these two sides have played a bilateral series, a two-match series in 2013-2014, and that too had ended with a scoreline of 1-1. Will we see a similar repeat here? Well, what I can tell you is that we have a similar repeat in toss, and the toss has again been won by the West Indies, and again Ireland are going to take first knock. I hope it doesn't end like last night where it was no result because of rain, but we hope to have much better weather. It was raining all day, and what do you know? We're going to have a prompt start, because just as we're about to start within the last hour or so, it has cleared up a lot and it's looking much better. Hopefully we'll have a full night. I do suspect we might have some interruptions. Like I said, the news from the middle is, though, that the West Indies winning the toss and Ireland are indeed batting first. Some changes in both teams. The West Indies, they have one change. They have dropped Carrie Pierre and they've brought in Rovman Powell. So the West Indies team reads: Lendl Simmons, Evan Lewis, Sharon Hetmar, Karen Pollard captain, Nicholas Puran keeper of course, Shafane Rutherford, Dwayne Bravo, Romario Shepherd, Hayden Wells Jr., Rovman Powell and Sheldon Cottrell. The Irish, they have also made one change. They have dropped George Dockrell and have brought in Mark Adair. So their team reads: Paul Sterling, Kevin O'Brien, Andrew Balbirnie the captain, Gareth Delaney, Harry Tector, Gary Wilson, Simi Singh, Mark Adair, Barry McCarthy, Josh Little and Craig Young. With me is Samuel Badri, the former Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies leg spinner, who still remains the leading leg spinner in terms of wickets at this level for the West Indies. Sammy, a pleasant good afternoon to you.
Good evening, Barry, and good evening to your listeners wherever you may be as we get set for this third and final Sandals T20 International contest. Hopefully the rains will stay away and we can get in a full match.
Yeah, that's the thing. We really hope the rain stays away. What has stayed away is the crowd. We had a crowd of 2,500 last night. Today, I don't think we even have 100 spectators here yet. Very disappointing, but I think they might have said to themselves, no cricket will play today at Warner Park. It has rained all day in St. Kitts and we're not coming, and they've definitely stayed away. The place is virtually empty, just a sprinkling of spectators. I hope if they're listening, if they're watching, that they'll come down to Warner Park to create that atmosphere, because right now there's absolutely no atmosphere. Okay, so Paul Sterling is going to take first strike as usual. There's a slip of third man, a backward point to extra cover in the mid-off, a mid-on, straightish mid-wicket, backward square leg on the boundary and a short flying leg. Here comes the first ball from Sheldon Cottrell, and comes in and bowls to Sterling. A short ball that's hit in the air out to backward square, is not going to go to the fielder there, Shimra Hetmar, for a catch, but it did spoon up in the air and Ireland are off from running. They're one without loss. That was a very awkward delivery there, and he played it just as uncomfortable Paul Sterling.
Just gotten too big on him at the last moment and not able to really control that one. Unfortunately for him, it didn't carry all the way to the fielder position at deep backward square. That is the similar manner in which he was dismissed yesterday. Thankfully for him, he's still there, got off the mark immediately. Ireland won without loss after facing just one delivery. Cottrell has been doing a good job. Umpire Patrick Gustard just signaling 4-leg byes. I'm not surprised with the change. I think that on this pitch in particular, with the conditions, the rain around, it will be difficult for the spinners to grip the ball. And Carrie Pierre, he was the casualty, and they brought in Rovman Powell. It means therefore that the West Indies team have 4 specialist bowlers: Dwayne Bravo, Sheldon Cottrell, once more to Kevin O'Brien. And this one is driven through the offside and well fielded by Lyndall Simmons in mid-off there. So just looking for swing, pushing the balls up and getting just a hint of swing early on here at Warner Park, Sheldon Cottrell.
So the West Indies team, of course, winning the toss, again choosing to field. Did that surprise you?
Not at all. Again, given the conditions, given the that there's a 60% chance of rain, and given the way they bowl in the first round and again work neatly through the onside, goes down to deep final leg results in a single. So we've come to the end of the first over.
O'Brien is driving, coming off the inside edge, is going to go down to the fine leg boundary. Will Power get across? No, he doesn't.
Quickly to 12 with 14 without loss, beg your pardon. Good start here for Ireland.
So Shepherd, not a bad delivery, but it was one of those awkward shots that you often sometimes get away with, and he did get away with it. Here he comes in again, Shepherd.
Listen, shot here from Kevin O'Brien. You can't afford to bowl this man short. He picks up that length so quickly. And Rovman Powell, well, he was in for the shot for a few seconds. Until that ball sailed over his head. He was hitting into the wind, Kevin O'Brien, but he made good enough connection. To clear the fielder at deep backwards, but the Caribbean run rate of just over 8.1. One.
Umpire square leg.
Well, they usually communicate with each other, so if you have to lay any fault, it has to be with both of them. The umpires for tonight's match, Gregory Brathwaite along with Patrick Gustard, standing.
And even if there was a fielder on the sweeper, no one could have gotten that. They actually almost caught. For the spectator, and he
Sure.
really good batting here from O'Brien. He looks to me so consistently well in terms of his stroke play, and he's hitting the ball in the gaps, which is what's good, because you're always going to get value for money in the power play if you hit the ball in the gaps, because on this small ground you're unlikely. Thrown through long off for 4. Well, this is a real punishment here for Sheldon. Cottrell, the soldier's got to find his mark. 43 without loss in over number 3, and Cottrell has gone none for 20 and 1.4.
And Barry Wilkinson is saluting here for those boundaries. For consecutive boundaries off the bowling of Sheldon Cottrell. A slow ball there, and that was well picked over the field, short fine leg, so it's a thick. Outside that Sheldon Cottrell over, and Ireland, they are speeding. They are 48 without loss after 3 overs, and the West Indies bowlers, they're under some pressure here again.
Yeah, well, this is a very good start for the Irish. They've really batted well. 48 without loss after 3. If you were the captain, what would you do?
I think I do exactly what the captain is doing here. He's bringing himself on. Karen Pollard, with all of his variations, his slow balls, his guile, and he's a cunning bowler. I think he's making the right decision here to bring himself on, and change of pace and taking pace off the ball is key here, albeit with only 2 fielders out, so it's going to be tough. Kevin O'Brien in menacing form will be challenging any bowler at this stage, but Karen Pollard deciding to bring himself on as West Indies are facing down the barrel here. 48 without loss after 3 overs.
Well, he definitely did get the results last night, so I think he's coming back to see if all should be well now in terms of him coming on. But we have some rain in a minute, so it's not good news. Here he comes in now and bowls to O'Brien. O'Brien doesn't swipe, doesn't swing. He doesn't have to, because Pollard didn't deliver.
Maybe Karen Pollard is waiting for the rain. But it's a
he doesn't have to wait long, I can tell you that.
It's a trademark of his. He always does that. He runs in. He either bowls a wide down the leg side or he holds the ball. So it's a bit of a delay in tactic just to play in the mind of the batsman Kevin O'Brien. He sets up with and awaits Karen Pollard as he reaches to the crease now, and neatly tucked through the onside for a single. And just on cue, as you are saying, Barry, the rains are coming down. It's light at the moment. The umpires will, however, want to ensure that they get the square covered quickly so that it doesn't interrupt the match at the moment. And they're staying on as we see the rains blow across the venue here at Warner Park. The 60% chance of rain. We wanted this rain to go away. Unfortunately, it's here for the moment, but we're continuing with play. Karen Pollard, he just 1 ball so far.
Yeah, the wind is very strong, so I hope it continues in that eastern direction and blows away. I think it's beginning to blow away. Definitely blow it away. So here comes Pollard now. We're over number 4. 49 without loss, Ireland. Here comes Pollard now and bowls to Sterling, and Sterling is steering this one down to short, third man, and that is going to be 1 run, almost 2. Pollard there was quite angry, telling Cottrell, come on, you got to do better than that.
And that brings up the 50 for Ireland in 3.2 overs, 50 without loss, and on course once again to get a huge score inside the power play. But we see the effect of the slower deliveries. The batsman can't get the pace on the ball to hit over the top, to hit it through to the boundaries. So this is clever bowling from Karen Pollard. He needs to continue that for the rest of this over.
Here he comes again now, Pollard, and bowls to O'Brien. O'Brien is looking to heave this one over mid-wicket as a slow delivery, doesn't read it, Goes into the offside and there's no run. Clever bowling again by Karen Pollard, trying to stop this glut of runs. It's been a very good start again for the Irish. They've really come here to the Caribbean, and even though they have been beaten in almost every game, they lost the 50 over 3-0. They've leading in the series 1-0. They've certainly been competitive. They haven't really rolled over and played dead at all.
They had an opportunity to win the second ODI and
That's right.
and the 2-1 there, but Karen Pollard makes his way to the crease once again. Kevin O'Brien hits this one high in the air. Fielder getting under it. 3 fielders converging. Who will take it? Hayden Walsh Jr. Well, he makes no mistake with that one, and Karen Pollard once again gets the breakthrough, gets the man Kevin O'Brien high into the air. Seems as though it was Sherman Hetmeyer who took that catch, but an excellent catch, and Kevin O'Brien has to go.
Yeah, Karen Pollard is beginning to love this ground, I can tell you. But just as he's beginning to love the ground, so too is the rain. It's falling now, and we're going to have our first rain interruption with Ireland going great guns at 50 for 1, 5-0 for 1. But the rain is coming down pretty hard, and outside is looking a little ominous. I suspect that this could be another lengthy interruption. So just let's tell you what has happened here. The West Indies with Ireland being asked to bat first. West Indies winning the toss, and the Irish were off to a very, very good start. In fact, when they did start, it was Sterling and O'Brien who raced to 40 without loss after 3 overs, and now after 3.4 they're 50 for 1. O'Brien has just been out, caught by Hetmeyer off of Pollard for 36. Sterling is now on 9, 50 for 1. Rain interruption. The rain is falling quite hard, and I think we're going to have a lengthy delay. We're going to hand back to the studio in just a moment, but just let me say a pleasant good afternoon to you, Victor. Eddie Victor, Samuel Badri has left us. This is unfortunate. I think this could be a lengthy delay.
Yes, it can be a lengthy delay. Thank you, Gary, and pleasant good evening to all our listeners, especially those of you who might be joining the broadcast. Not such good news if you're just joining, because it's raining here at Warner Park, and really, but there is a strong breeze though, which is wind blowing across the ground, so the chances are that there's a possibility that there may be a continuation of play. But at the moment as I speak to you, it's raining. The ground staff has gotten one of the bigger covers, the main cover, on the surface though, so it would appear that the square has been well protected. So you're not missing any play at the moment, but just to tell you that the West Indies won the toss again and asked Ireland to bat. But we will hope that we will really have a game on here to decide how the series would go, Barry.
So stations, stay tuned. We'll be back when we have some more cricket to tell you about. But for the moment, Ireland 50 for 1, rain interruption, and this might be a while. We'll come back when we have more cricket being played here at Warner Park.
2 hearts, 5 stars, 1 name. Sanders. Call 1-800-SANDERS.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cricket fans. Shells and energy for the Royal Medical Insurance of the Isles. And 3 T20s in 12 days. Non-stop cricket. Kensington Oval, Barbados, Grenada National Stadium, and Warner Parks and Kids. So come on to support.
More quality ingredients than any other resorts on the planet. Save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDERS. What is luxury? A state of mind, free time, a villa, a vista. That place you love, it's more than you expect. It's perfection, it's opulence, it's unlimited all the time. Fulfill your desires. No limits, all night. Cheat days, passion.
The West Indies, January 7th to 19th. Royal Medical Insurance of the Isles. And 3 T20s.
Pollard will continue from the lows of the end, and he will be bowling to Paul Sterling, with the batsman at the crease for Ireland, Andrew Malcolm. Bravo.
All right, stations, we are back on. Welcome back then to the West Indies and Ireland series. We're going to have a continuation after that 45-minute delay. With the Irish still batting, of course, 52 for 1 now. We're about to start over number 5, and here comes Dwayne Bravo as he runs it now and bowls to Balbirnie, and Balbirnie turns his ball out to the vacant mid-wicket area. He should get one. Is he going to come back for the second? Yes, he does. Hello to you, Victor Eddy. Victor, we're back on. The Irish just continuing from where they left off, 54 for 1 now.
Good evening to you, Barry, and especially those of our listeners who might just be rejoining the broadcast. So we are back here, and we are all hoping that we will have a match in here tonight between Ireland and the West Indies. This is game 3 of this series. Ireland already one up in the series.
Here comes Bravo in again and bowls to Balbirnie, and Balbirnie gets the delivery. He's driving out to cover, straight to Evan Lewis at the extra cover position, and there's no run.
Well, the Bravo would have to be on par because Ireland, they're off to a very good start. It is 54 for 1, and we are still within the power play, so Ireland can be very pleased with the start that they have gotten so far.
Yeah, very good start. 54 for 1 as Bravo comes in and bowls to Balbirnie, and Balbirnie goes to deliver this wide of the off stump, goes to a big drive, misses, taken there by the keeper, and there is no run.
A lot of times too, Barry, in 2020 cricket, I have observed that a lot of bowlers use the deliveries which are of a full length just outside the off stump. But once that is applied and batsmen are quite aware of it, no doubt some will cash in and utilize that option that bowlers use.
As Bravo continues down his over, passes the umpire with 3 balls left and bowls to Balbirnie, who's turned this one fine to a short fine leg. There's a fielder there, so he'll just sneak a single. You've got to remember that Balbirnie had a hamstring injury yesterday, didn't field, and it's going to be interesting to see now if that has significantly affected him. Obviously, he feels good enough to play again. He is the captain. He wants to lead and win this series for Ireland. They've never beaten the West Indies in a series. The last series they would have played in, it finished 1-1 as well. So he wants to ensure that they either win 2-0 or even if it's a 1-all situation, that he's there as captain to see them through.
Well, also too, that might have been a minor hamstring strain, because usually with hamstrings it takes a lot of rest.
Yeah, it would have been very minor because he didn't feel, so I guess he rested it. Bravo's going to come around the wicket now. There's a short third man, a backward point, a cover point, an extra cover, mid-off, straightish mid-on, mid-wicket on the boundary and a short fine leg as Bravo comes around the wicket to bowl to Sterling. And Sterling's wrapped in the pad. It's a loud appeal for LBW. I think he's going to be given. Yes, he is, belatedly. He's reviewing it as well. But I really thought that was the obvious LBW, unless it hit the bat. I thought he was trapped plumb in front. Yes, he's coming around the wicket, but if you're hit between wicket and wicket, you're out. And I think that he's gone. I think Sterling is going to be a goner here. LBW to Bravo. Let's wait and see what the review says.
Well, coming around the wicket also too, and from my vantage point where I'm sitting also too, Barry, a little more in line with wicket, and it looked like it caught him somewhere around the centre stump. We will see on the monitor now. And
he's plumb.
He's
absolutely plumb.
He's plumb.
Unless that hit the inside edge, which I don't think it did. And Ultra Edge now confirms that it has not hit the inside edge. I think he is absolutely plumb.
And also too, Barry, if you look at it closely, it actually hit in his right foot as a right-handed batsman, and the knee is actually bent to off the right leg. So that can also...
I think it hit first.
Look, you see.
Look, it hit his left
first,
foot
and then went
on to the right.
Okay, but then going on to the right, which is bent, I think the decision is going to come in favour of the bowler.
It should. It definitely should. I thought it looked really plumb from the naked eye, and I don't see any reason why the umpire would turn it down.
Between wicket and wicket?
In line, impact in line,
yes. He's
a goner.
Boom.
He's gone. Gone.
Yes.
So the West Indies get their second wicket. It's 55 for 2. Sterling out LBW for 11. A good decision there from Gustard. He had a long look and made the right decision in the end. Bravo in his first over has got the wicket, and the Windies have just slowed things down a little bit. 55 for 2. The two big hitters are gone.
Yes, and as the partnership was looking threatening for the West Indies, it was an ideal time, and Bravo came in and got that very valuable wicket and also breaking a very valuable partnership. So this can either slow down the pace of the Islanders, but we will still have to wait and see. And we can see now Pollard, the captain, and Bravo having a short conversation. So that was a good breakthrough there for Dwayne Bravo.
English language is a funny thing. You said the Islanders.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But people listening might think you said the Islanders, right, as in ISLANDERS, meaning the West Indies, but you actually said the Irelanders.
Yeah, don't be so careful.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yes, okay.
All in good jest. So Delaney's the new batsman. Balburney's there. The captain is on 3. He's going to have a big job tonight because they were going great guns, but I can tell you with the two big hitters out, these two batsmen must show their worth now and try to not only continue this momentum, but they must try and get more runs on the board.
And also too, there are two batsmen in now who are new at the crease. Yeah. So this is in favour at this present moment for the West Indies, as Bravo Benitez, he moves in now.
Carey comes in now and bowls to Delaney, and Delaney gets a delivery that's slow outside the line of the off stump. He was going to take a whack at it, saw it was slow, left it alone, taken by the keeper to end the over. 5 gone. Ireland have been pegged back just a little bit, a smidget. 55 for 2 now. Delaney yet to score. Balburney has 3. The latest score here at Warner Park in St. Kitts. More from you, Victor Eddy. And then it's going to be John Kenny, the Irish himself.
Yeah, thank you there, Barry. And a very good last delivery there from Bravo. Very good in disguising his slow delivery. And it gives me pleasure to say a special welcome to John Kenny. And John, welcome to Warner Park, and we would hope that we really get a game in tonight, John. So special welcome, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, and hopefully these pulses of rain that we've had sweeping across the ground, in fact across St. Kitts for the last month, can just hold off for tonight. We've had one long delay. Ground staff, I know, are very busy out there, but it does take them an eternity to get rid of the covers. Must be a better way of doing it. But anyway, Ireland have lost 2 wickets, one before the rain delay, with Kevin O'Brien out for 36 and Paul Sterling, wasted review there. He was plumb LBW, gone for 11. Andy Balburney, we can hear the anguished cries from Pollard, has just missed the top of the off stump, and Ireland remain on 55 for 2. Impeach of a delivery, just with the top of the off stump.
Yes, indeed, it was a very good delivery, and no doubt Pollard should be searching to put it in that area again, the next delivery. But we'll just have to wait and see. He had a very good spell last evening. He got 4 wickets.
Balbirnie has that hamstring strain, didn't field yesterday, and that's cut away, and that's going to go for 4. He scored 36 in game 2, 7 in game 1, and that's a nice shot, cracking away the ball square of the wicket. Ireland onto 59. Balbirnie moves to 7.
Yes, he gave him all the reasons to extend his arms. It was short and wide off the off stump, and with fielders still, well, there is a man now posted on the deep extra cover boundary, and that was a good stroke, and earned himself 4 runs.
Over the head of Lendl Simmons. Balbirnie on to 7. Gareth Delaney has joined him in the middle after the dismissal of Paul Sterling. Went great guns yesterday. He's cracked 4 sixes in a row. He liked the slow bowling yesterday. This one is whipped by Balbirnie around the corner. There is a man down there. He's going to cut that off, and there will be 2 runs added to the Irish total. Yesterday in tandem, Balbirnie and Delaney in particular batted extremely well. I know you were impressed by Delaney yesterday.
Yes, indeed, and they were very good, and that was a very good partnership also too. But at this present moment, though, John, with 2 relatively new batsmen at the crease, we'll have to get the pace of the pitch and what's not. We will quite an interesting moment.
Here comes Pollard now, bowling from the southern end to Balbirnie again on the leg stump, and is pushed into the leg side, and there will be no run as Evan Lewis, I think it is, does the fielding. In fact, that's at Dwayne Bravo at shortish mid-wicket, and Ireland remain on 61 for 2. Delaney yesterday really liked the slow bowlers, Kerry Pierre in particular, and but Pierre's not playing today. The one change in the West Indian side, Rodman Powell is in. Balbirnie facing again. This time he dances a couple of steps down the track and pushes it into the offside, but there's a fielder there and cuts that off, and Ireland remain on 61 for 2. We've had a long rain delay, but no reduction in the overs so far. Pollard's bowled 5 of his 6 balls in this, his second over. Has taken one of the wickets to fall so far. Good steepling catch by Hetmar to get rid of Kevin O'Brien. Here he comes and bowls now to Balbirnie. Tries to cut that as well. Bit of a waft, and that ends the Pollard over. He's gone for 10, 1 for 10 in his 2 overs. Ireland remain on 61 for 2. Balbirnie on 9. Delaney yet to score.
Yes, and also Pollard mixing his deliveries quite nicely, using a quicker one, using a slow one, and has a tendency to fall away to his left as a right arm medium pacer, operating from the southern end of the ground here at Warner Park. So an interesting moment of play right here, especially for those of our listeners who might just be joining us here at Warner Park. It's looking fairly clear at the moment, and we will all hope that we will get a game in tonight, and this match actually will be the decider of the series.
That's the end of the power play then. 6 overs down, and away to our left hand side, the lights sparkling away.
Yes, and that area
that's where the rain comes from, isn't it, on the left hand side?
Yes,
yeah.
And that area is called Bird Rock area here in St. Kitts. It's on the eastern side of Warner Park.
So long as we see the lights, we're okay.
We are okay, John.
61 for 2. Shepherd is going to change ends. Romario Shepherd went for 18 in his first over as O'Brien, and O'Brien in particular, plundered him. And here he bowls to Delaney. Delaney cuts a lovely shot all along the ground, and that's gone past backward point, flew past him, and Ireland pick up 4 valuable runs, and they move to 65 for 2. Nice shot from Delaney. He moves to 4.
Yes, and what was also exquisite about that stroke, he waited for it and then he placed it quite nicely. There is a field at point, and one which you can consider a wide short third man, and he bisected the gap nicely. So his emphasis was not on power, it was on timing and placement, and New Zealand earning another boundary, and 65 for 2.
He holds the bat very unusually. He's right up at the top of the bat. He does on the top of the handle is where he holds it. A lot of the players obviously have the hand down the bottom of the bat, but he holds it very high. He just chips that one into the offside. He's going to pick up a single, and it's 66 for 2 now. Delaney on to 5. Balbirnie will be facing. He's got 9 runs from his 10 overs faced so far.
Well, what the New Zealand, sorry, the Ireland team would no doubt be thinking about to avoiding as many dot balls as possible. If they cannot get the boundaries, then try keep exchanging the strike with the 1s and the 2s. Well, Pollard is making some adjustments now to the field placement, but New Ireland are now 66 for 2, And these two, no doubt, will be thinking about building a partnership.
Ireland's power play, 61, loss of 2 wickets. Shepherd's going to continue then from the commentary box end, just down below us. 4 bowlers used so far, past the umpire. Gustardi goes. That's a full toss, and that gets the treatment it deserved. Whipped away by Balbirnie, and nicely placed as well. No fielder down there. Ireland onto 70 for 2. Balbirnie onto 13.
Well, it was a gift, and he'd made proper use of it, executing it into the deep mid-wicket boundary for another 4. And that is no doubt the purpose of these two. They will capitalise on anything loose, short or full, but at the same time making sure that they exchange the strike. So 10.77 is the current run rate, so they will just need to keep that at a steady pace.
Interesting watching Dwayne Bravo step in to have a word with Shepherd there. They were at loggerheads yesterday, these two, when Shepherd went to take a catch off his own bowling, and Bravo mischievously got in his way as well. And when Shepherd took a catch at the boundary, he was so full of anger he slammed the ball into the ground. Anyway, 70 for 2. Here comes Shepherd bowling to Balbirnie. That's wide of the off stump, cracked into the offside. There is a man down there doing the sweeping roll, and it's over the head of Pooran, but there is somebody backing up, prevents the second run. 71 for 2 now. Balbirnie onto 14.
Well, but Balbirnie will also recognise that having the fielder on the deep extra cover boundary, that obviously Shepherd is going to bowl a delivery of full length just outside the off stump. That is why that fielder is placed out there also to cut off the boundary.
It's just a small crowd, a small smattering of spectators in. There's a few in the stand we can see at the far end over at the bank on the right hand side of the ground under the awnings. There's a few people there as well. That's about a ball from Shepherd right on the leg stump of Delaney, but he's able to work it backward of square for a single. He moves on to 6 and the score to 72 for 2. This is the final match in this 3-match series. Yesterday was rained off. Ireland had a terrific victory in that 400 run plus match in the game in Grenada, and if they win here, well, they would back up a T20 series win that they had in Dublin last year, where they overcame Scotland and Netherlands before qualifying for the T20 World Cup, which is later on this year in Australia. Here comes Shepherd, bowls to Balbirnie, pitched nicely up, but Balbirnie does well to actually work that into the leg side. There is 1 to the total, 73 for 2, end of 7 overs.
Yes, and these two are doing it quite nicely, exchanging the strike, capitalising on any loose deliveries.
And Shepherd's been expensive so far, 30 for off his 2 overs.
Wow, and that is highly expensive in truth on the behalf of Shepherd. Well, John, possibly the gathering might get a little bigger later on if the weather stays away.
Yeah, well, we've got fingers crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed, you name it up here, hoping to get a full day's play. Obviously, Ireland looking to get a serious win. If the rain does come like we had last night, that would be beneficial to them and would give them their first series win against the West Indies. But I think they'd like to get a full day's play in here. The object of the exercise, really, from Captain Balbirnie's point of view, is to get a team together and a squad together that's good enough to get through that final qualification phase in the World Cup in Australia and get to the main draw later on this year. Here comes the captain, Pollard, and that's chipped into the leg side by Balbirnie. There's a man there, and again the throw comes in. Pooran, that was a bit of an awkward bounce he had to deal with, but thankfully from their point of view they had somebody backing up. The West Indies fielding has not been great in the ODI and the T20 series, and it continued a little bit of that vein as well so far today. Not great fielding out there.
Well, John, you have been really consistent in your observation of the West Indies out cricket, and no doubt that will be an aspect definitely that they will have to improve upon greatly.
Sure. They do have a World Cup themselves to play along with Ireland. 74 for 2 to Delaney, and he's out. That's a slower delivery from Pollard, and he just confused the batsman, just tried to nudge it forward, got the outside edge, and Pollard is showing all his experience out there by getting rid of the dangerous Delaney, who made 44 yesterday, and Ireland have lost their 3rd wicket in the 8th over. 74 for 3 now.
Yes, and Pollard is such a thinker. He mixes his deliveries, his variations so expertly demonstrates that he is always looking for results and bowling wicket to wicket, and it was a slow delivery, and how often and how well he has that slow delivery being disguised, and the 3rd wicket going down. So John, as he continues where he left off last night, that's Kyron Pollard leading from front and having a very good spell so far. But the current run rate, even though 3 wickets have gone down for Ireland, is 10.9. So still a very good run rate at this present moment, John.
Yeah, it was up at 14 at one stage, but it's obviously dropped away with those wickets going. So Delaney's gone, caught poor on ball. Pollard, it's the second wicket in this. He got his best T20 figures yesterday, taking 4 for. Harry Tector, the young 20-year-old, has now joined Balbirnie in the middle. Not riding on Balbirnie now at this stage. He's on 16. Tector to face. And this is 18th T20 International from Leinster Lightning, the interprovincial team back home, the first class series of games to be played in the summer. He's playing one of those. Leinster Lightning, also from YM in Dublin, and he faces the first ball from Pollard. Again, a slower delivery, but he's able to work that behind square on the leg side for a single. Tector thought about a second run, and so did Balbirnie. Now, Tector ran at about 2 Irish batsmen yesterday, and that's a chase for extra runs towards the end of the innings, and obviously Balbirnie's got a problem with a hamstring, so he was asking a lot there. The captain, thankfully, from his point of view, sensible batting from Balbirnie, he sent him back.
Yes, because to really put that into agony again, it would not be good from Ireland's standpoint.
Here comes Kyron Pollard with a wicket to Balbirnie. He pushes it into the offside, square on the offside as well, and they pick up a single. Pollard, the 32-year-old all-rounder from Trinidad, the T20 and ODI captain, in his 70th T20 International today. He's taken 2 for.
Yes, and Trinidad and Tobago, they have produced so many good and great cricketers, and he is one of the good ones, is Kyron Pollard, the captain for the West Indies. He's operating from the Southern or Lozak Road end.
Best figures yesterday in T20 of 4 for 25, and that's another one gone as a similar dismissal to Delaney. He pushes at it, and a big whoop of delight from Kyron Pollard. Snatched nicely behind by Poran, and Ireland are starting to lose wickets now. They were on 50 without loss. They've now moved to 76 for 4, and we're in the 8th over.
Yes, and at this present moment, the West Indies team, they should feel very confident in having 4 wickets going down for Ireland, and Kyron Pollard, leading the way again, getting wickets like he did yesterday. He got 4 wickets in that abandoned encounter, which was the second one. 9.70 is the current run rate, but I think right now, the position of the game, West Indies have a slight initiative at this present moment.
Oh, I'd say they're more than a slight initiative. 4 going down at 76. And it was a poor shot, really, just looking at that in replay. There wasn't a lot of foot movement. He just pushed at the ball, really, and he perished. And Poran with that outside edge, snatching it up, and Pollard's now taken 3 for.
Yes, and it was also rising too, so that was more evident why the batsman shouldn't have been playing at that delivery, but he did. And another wicket going down for Ireland, another wicket to the column of the captain Pollard. He is operating from the Southern or Lozak Road end.
There's a very experienced Gary Wilson's now out there. Northern Knights in the Interprovincial Series at home. The 33-year-old from Dundonald, ex of Surrey, in his 81st T20 International today, faces Pollard. And he almost chopped it on, and Poran comes in quickly to prevent a quick run. In fact, he thought about throwing it at the stumps of the far end. So that ends a very eventful 8th over, and Ireland in a little bit of a pickle here. They're 76 for 4. Balbirnie's still there on 17, a lot riding on his shoulders, and also Wilson is there. He just faced the one delivery. He is not.
Yes, and this should be a very big motivator for the West Indies team. 4 wickets going down for Ireland, 76 it is, but a current run rate at 9.50, which is still good, but they have lost some 4 wickets in the process. So we no doubt will have a very good encounter, and we're all hoping that it will stay as clear as it is, as I speak to our listeners, especially those who might just be joining the broadcast.
One change in the Irish team today. Mark Adair in for George Dockrell. Here comes Bravo, bowling from the commentary box end, and that's cut away by Balbirnie. Might look for a second one here. No, but that's good fielding down there on the cover boundary to prevent the second. one to the total, 77 for 4.
Yes, and that was very quick movement too. We will try and pick up who is the outfielder on the deep extra cover boundary, but he moved quite quickly to his left, and even though the batsman quite rightly so running the first one quick, but not quick enough to get a second. Well, we are seeing now some adjustment in the field placement.
Yeah, Evan Lewis is going to come into the ring. They've put a man down at deep fine leg and into the ring, into the circle I should say.
Inside the 30 yards.
Inside the 30-yard circle. So Bravo just moving things around. Johnny's back for the West Indies and he's taking a wicket. LBW, Paul Sterling, very clever, going around the wicket and getting the opener LBW. He's over the wicket to Wilson, who hits that on the up, and it's gone away for 4 runs for Ireland's point of view. That's 4 more to the total, and 81 for 4, and Wilson off the mark.
Yes, Wilson got a short delivery outside the off stump, and he was in a position to just extend his arms, and even though there is a fielder on the third man boundary, he's a bit wide, it went fine, and he earned himself 4.
Ex-T20 captain Gary Wilson, replaced by Andy Balbirnie, over 1,200 runs, scored 17 in game 1 and 5 in game 2. Ireland will be looking for a lot more from him in this third T20 international. And again, sloppy fielding by the West Indies allows Ireland to run through for the quick single. The guilty man there, Hayden Walsh Jr., should have picked that up and prevented the run.
Well, when those little mistakes have been made, the Ireland players, they usually capitalize on those opportunities. Well, we're seeing Hayden Walsh Jr. now going to the deep mid-wicket boundary. Well, probably with a little slipperiness on the outfield. That might be a factor, but we have not seen the bowlers really using the towels that regular or consistently using the towels to dry the seam of the ball.
Bravo again making 1 or 2 adjustments in the field as he comes in to bowl, and he's just gone for the 9 runs in his second over now and make that 10 as Balbirnie puts that into the offside leg side, and it's 83 for 4 now. Ireland started with a real blaze, Paul Sterling and Kevin O'Brien putting on 50 for the first wicket, and O'Brien then perishing. Bowled Pollard, real skyer, which Hetmar did well to get under it and claim. Paul Sterling LBW to Bravo for 11, then Gareth Delaney and Harry Tector both gone, pushing at wide ones, bowled by Pollard but cleverly disguised, and Ireland now on 83 for 4. Here comes Bravo, bowls to Wilson, just gets a bat on that and steers it down to third man. 1 to the total, 84 for 4 now. Wilson on to 6.
Yes, and that is so important, the exchange of the strike, and these 2 batsmen are doing it quite appropriately, and Dwayne Bravo using all his tactics here, and always have a very good disguise, slow delivery, but some batsmen early o'clock will pick it up and make some executions, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Likes to roll his fingers across the ball, Dwayne Bravo. Here he comes, bowls again to Balbirnie, and that's cut away, and that's going to go past the short third man for 4 welcome runs for Ireland. End of the 9th over. It's Balbirnie on to 23 and the score on to 88 for 4.
Yes, and Balbirnie just using the pace of delivery. It was a delivery short and wide, and even though there was a short third man and a point, he placed it nicely, and it ran away and got himself 4. And immediately, both batsmen, John, they're having a mid-pitch conversation, no doubt, weighing the situation. What is most appropriate, probably at this particular time, might be part of the conversation. That is only on speculation, though.
Well, Ireland moving on from 76 for 4 with the departure of Harry Tector, now to 88 for 4 at the end of 9 overs in this Sandals T20 International here in St. Kitts. Wilson facing, Pollard bowling. Cries of yes, no. In the end, the bowler fields off his own bowling, and it remains on 88 for 4. What do you think would be a good total here from Ireland's point of view? They've got to rebuild here, though. Don't lose any more wickets. Keep their wicket intact, and then try and attack, I suppose, in the last 6 overs.
Well, if they can get anywhere about 165, 170 from this particular situation they're in, that should be a reasonable total.
That's they've got to work on, obviously. Again, it's pushed down the track by Wilson, and once again the big man at the far end gets down quickly and prevents the run doing the fielding off his own bowling. And 2 dot balls off this Pollard over. It means that Ireland on 88 for 4. With a big long interruption for rain, about 40 minutes, I'd say. But so far, so good. Those twinkling lights away to our left-hand side are still very much in view. There's a strong old breeze going across the ground. Here comes Pollard, bowling to Wilson. And this one is guided down to short third man, which is Sheldon Cottrell. He thought about shying it at the stumps, but he's in the end decided not to, and perhaps he was concerned about the fielder at the far end not backing up properly.
Yes, quite rightly so, and that is why he held it, and that is so elementary in the fact whereby getting the ball, there could have been a possibility to try to run out the batsman, but after no one was backing up, he decided not to.
I think what I need to do is see Pollard off here. This is his last over. Good stuff from Balbirnie, who just pushes it into the leg side. They're going to come back for a quick second here, and a shy at the stumps. If that had hit, Balbirnie was certainly out. Bravo ran in alongside Poran. It missed the stumps. And it was a risky second single there, especially with Balbirnie having a hamstring strain from yesterday, and Ireland managed to scramble it too.
Well, and also a very good effort to try to hit the stumps direct, because it could have been a different proposition if that had struck, but it did not. So luckily for Ireland, because we can see from the monitor he was yards out of the
he'd given
ground.
up on it. He'd totally given up on that. He knew fine well if that hit the stumps, the captain was out. Pollard does not look amused at all. But that was a risky single because he went straight to the fielder, and Balbirnie survives. He's on 25 now, facing Pollard. Aren't going to see Pollard off here. Here, the ball pushed into the offside. There is no run. It's a dot ball. He's just gone for 3. This is the last ball of his 4th over. My advice if I was sitting in the Irish dressing room is say, even if this is a dot ball, just get rid of Pollard. He's bowled so well. He's taken 3-4 to add to his 4-4 from yesterday.
Well, this is his final delivery. Legal delivery, that.
Here he comes now to bowl 2, Balbirnie. And Balbirnie just eased that down the ground to the man standing at long on. And there is 1 to the total. So good from Pollard. 4 overs, 3-4, 17. That's a good effort. Ireland 92 for 4. We're at the end of 10 overs.
Well, he's continuing where he left off. That's Kieran Pollard. He got 4 wickets last evening in the abandoned game, and now getting 3 for 17. So leading from the front again, Kieran Pollard. Very good think of the game, good tactician.
Yeah, because Cottrell and Shepherd really got the treatment early on, and to stymie the flow of runs. What did the captain do? Well, he took responsibility and put himself on.
Yes, and quite rightly so. In adverse situations, the captain will have to lead by from in front, and he really did take on the responsibility. But what these two are doing, which is quite relevant for a good partnership, they keep exchanging the strike, getting the 1s and 2s, and they are capitalizing on the loose deliveries.
Bravo has been replaced at our commentary box end by Romario Shepherd. He's coming in to bowl his 3rd over. He's been expensive. He's gone for 30 so far. This ball to Balbirnie. Chopped down to backward point, and 1 to the total. Ireland 93 for 4. Just as you say, moving inexorably around, try to rotate the strike.
Yes, indeed, that is very important, because what is also easier for bowlers too, if they get too many opportunities to bowl a lot of deliveries at one particular batsman, they can easily have more time to work out the player.
It's very quiet here in St. Kitts. Fortunately, there's not a big crowd in.
Well, I prefer to say gathering.
Gathering. Well, let's call it a crowd. They're paying punters. There is a few little awnings or tents away to our right-hand side. There's a few people up there on the bank on our right-hand side. The lights ablaze. Here comes Shepherd bowling to Wilson. That should be out. That's nothing kind of shot from Wilson. Backward point takes that easy enough. I don't know what Wilson was trying to do there. Well, I think initially he was trying to do the scoop, and he pulled out of the shot and he just popped it in the air. And Shepherd, who was expensive in his first 2 overs, gets a wicket, and Ireland lose the 5th in the 11th over. Poor shot from Wilson. He's gone for 7.
Yeah, that was very poor on Wilson's behalf. As much as I admire the reverse sweep, and so sometimes the selection of that, it has to be more appropriate in what you select to try to play that stroke. And at that particular time, I don't think that particular one was on. That it was proven right in the end. So the 5th wicket going down for Ireland, and the West Indies are in a very good position at this present moment, even though the current run rate is 9, which is very good. 5 wickets in hand. And John, I still believe that if Ireland can get over 150, that can be a challengeable total. You can never tell. But what can also be the other factor is how well Ireland will get the grip on the ball, all the bowlers, because with the slippery and the moisture which is on the outfield.
Here we have for the first time in this T20 series, Mark Adair. He's had glandular problems at the start of this tour, confined to bed, and also ankle problems as well. So he missed the first 2 matches, but he's in today for George Dockrell, the 23-year-old from County Down, in his 18th international, and he faces, for the first time, in fact, the batsman had crossed, so it is Balbirnie, and Balbirnie's going to come back for a second run here, and that could be run out as well, I'd say, and he is out. Well, there was a misfield initially by Lendl Simmons. The West Indies fielding not on the highest order in terms of gathering the ball, but Balbirnie turned, thought there was a run on the misfield, and a direct hit gets rid of him, and Ireland on 93 for 6 now.
Well, the replay will show us on the monitor. I think there was a slight hesitation. Let us see if there was any hesitation. Well, he's out by yards. That was a beautiful stroke. So Hayden Walsh Jr., he has always been consistently a very good out cricketer and a very decent leg break and googly bowler, but what a magnificent throw coming in from the third man area. So John, I hope that this will bring some more inspiration to this West Indies fielding contingent to improve in areas, and I hope that is one of the factors that will be a motivator.
Well, all the years you've been playing cricket, somebody will say to you, don't run on the misfield unless you can run 2. So Balbirnie turned quickly and he was miles out, but what a throw it was coming in from the boundary by Hayden Walsh Jr. to take out the stumps. Accurate throw from a very long distance away. Lendl Simmons fumbled the ball. Balbirnie thought there was a run. There wasn't. Simi Singh is in his place now. Here comes Shepherd. That's pushed into the offside for a single. There is a cover fielder there, and 1 to the Irish total. 2 wickets in a row. Shepherd getting rid of Wilson with an indifferent shot, and then the run out. That was nicely placed by Simi Singh. He's off the mark. Mark Adair will face for the first time.
And interestingly, the throw actually struck the off stump. So just one stump, as you see, and the 2 other stumps stood firm in the ground. So that is even more relevant to the run out.
Oh, it's a brilliant throw. It really was an outstanding throw from distance. Shepherd bowls to Adair, and he ducks on 1 under 1, and actually the umpire at this end, Patrick Gustard, decides that was a wide.
Well, Gustard got it right on that occasion, and from our vantage point, it really appeared that was short and wide, and quite rightly so. So 1 more to the total, which carries now Ireland on to 96 for 6. So West Indies would be very pleased at this present moment with the situation that the game is in.
Mark Adair in his 18th T20 international, facing last ball of this Shepherd over, and he almost chipped that into backward point. Lendl Simmons was waiting to pounce there, and he just leant back and just put the bat in the air. Didn't get his bat out of the way at all. I think he was just trying to guide that down to third man, but came off the blade, or the top of the blade, and just dropped short of Simmons, and he survives.
Well, it was a sharp in-swing bouncer too, and it was going further into the batsman.
Absolutely convinced. By the way, that's the end of the 11th over. 96 for 6 Ireland.
Well, I thought for a moment that Captain Pollard might have been asking Puran a question before they finally decided that they're not going to use the DRS. And immediately when that over was concluded, he signaled to Hayden Walsh Jr., who's going to pick up the attack from the southern or Lozak Road end. So quite an interesting moment to bring in the leg break and googly bowler. And we know that can be a touch and go situation with leg break and googly bowlers. They can either hit a leg right away or they can be all over the place.
Yeah, Walsh certainly got the treatment yesterday. 2 overs for 32. He's going to be brought on now from the southern end. Ireland's run rate is dropping below 9 now.
But John, you will know better than I too that this art of leg break and googly bowling, it takes a lot of work because it is.
Oh, you know more, not my regard, I must say.
It is more of the difficult art for spinners, as we will see Walsh. That's it, short.
And Singh punches it into the offside. We're just looking at the ultra edge there, market there. There seemed to be a slightest little movement on the ultra edge. So I don't know whether he actually gets something. A bottom bat on that. Just the ultra edge we're seeing here. There seems to be some kind of movement on ultra edge. Not a lot.
No.
Not a lot, but they didn't send it upstairs, so he survives it there. Is on naught and he's facing. He's got a high score of 38 in T20 internationals. Mark Adair, his first appearance in this T20 series. Faces Walsh, cracks that through the offside. There is a fielder down there, should cut that up. Their fielding, it's very, very poor. As soon as I say that, Walsh throws the stumps out. But initially it was Lendl Simmons who actually parried it to him. I know it's a bit wet out there and it's damp, but that went straight under Romario Shepherd, and he just about got his hands to the ball to prevent it running away for 4. 99 for 6 now. Adair is finally off the mark. He's on 2. Facing Walsh. Bowls now. Adair tries to chop him, and Walsh does the fielding off his own bowling. Mark Adair will be anxious to get amongst the runs. Good bowler at this particular level at T20. That's the best for 440. That one is in the air, and it's going to drop short of the fielder. And Bravo just down below us, jumping up and down, thinking that we're in the 12th over.
Yes, indeed, and 100 on the board, and yes, that's right. The man on the deep long off boundary should have been walking in a lot much more brisker as the bowler Walsh is now just approaching the wicket.
He's bowling to Singh, who steps away and then cracks it away into the offside. They've run the 1, they won't run 2. There is a man on the cover boundary. That's good fielding, and that prevents the second run. Adair on 3, Singh on 3. Ireland 101 for 6 here in St. Kitts. Walsh coming to the end of his first over. Expensive yesterday, 5 from this first over from him from the southern end. Hayden Walsh Jr., the 27-year-old, born in the US Virgin Islands, an ex-USA player indeed. As he bowls the last ball of his opening over to Adair, who's able to get something on that. He's going to keep the strike. The fielder at long on gets the ball back quickly to Puran to end that Walsh over. 6 from it, 12 down, 102 for 6. Back in the hutch, Sterling, O'Brien, Balbirnie all got a start. Delaney got 6, Schechter got 1, Gary Wilson out for 7. Adair still there on 4, Simi Singh on 3.
Yes, and Hayden Walsh Jr. was indicating strongly that he's having difficulties with the grip of the ball because almost after every delivery in that first over from the southern end, he was using the rag. So that also is going to be a factor when Ireland go to defend whatsoever total they're going to get, which I think can be in the region anything over 150. That can also be a challengeable total. Well, they are already 1 up in the series, and we see Cottrell coming back into the attack from the northern or media centre end here at Warner Park.
Oh, Kevin O'Brien certainly liked the cut of the jib of Sheldon Cottrell. He's gone for 25 in his 2 overs to date, and in his second over O'Brien hit 4 consecutive 4s off him, and it's going to be Cottrell then. Left arm fast bowler. That's cut by Adair. to backward square to Lendl Simmons, and he takes, or he fields nicely, and remains on 102 for 6. Ireland losing the toss and being put into bat by Kyron Pollard. Cottrell turns on his mark, past the umpire, bowls now. This one by Adair, chops it into the ground and immediately calls for Singh to come through. It was his call in front of square, and Cottrell does the fielding off his own bowling, and the score moves on to 103 for 6. Adair on 5, Simi Singh now facing on 3 from 3 deliveries.
Well, there was almost a collision too between Bravo and Cottrell coming across from extra cover that was Bravo, and then Cottrell moving to
you knew it had to be Bravo. It had to be Bravo getting involved.
Why it had to be Bravo?
It had to be Bravo. Cottrell's gone for 26 and 2.2. Overs, just the one run from this over so far. That looks like a wide one. It's not going to be given. That's
blue line that assists the umpires in determining what is a wide from what not is a wide, and most likely that drop within. We can see it, no doubt, on the monitor if they can replay it in a while. Yes, there it is.
103 for 6. Now that's a wide. That's definitely a wide. Cottrell just putting too much into that, and Ireland get 1-2 their total. 104 for 6. 7 extras thus far. Cottrell's been not at his best tonight.
Well, no, and one of the things that Cottrell should be try to get it more wicket to wicket, because if the batsman miss, you will hit.
Bowling to Simi Singh with a score on 104 for 6. Singh steps away from his stumps and punches that square of the wicket on the offside for a single. Simi Singh, 32 years of age, born in the Punjab in India, declared for Ireland back in 2017, and he has got 22 T20 internationals to his name, and his highest score of 57 not out, made naught in game 1 and 4 in game 2, but he came in late in the innings, Simi Singh, and there's plenty of overs to go in Ireland's innings, so Ireland need him and Adair to stay there. This one on the stumps. Adair punches down the ground, stopped by Evan Lewis. 1 to the total, 106 for 6 now, coming towards the end of the 13th over.
Yes, and Cottrell will have to continue trying to get more wicket-to-wicket deliveries and try to introduce some indiscretions or indecision by the batsmen, but we have not seen that as yet. Collectively, you're right, John, that the West Indies collectively has not been really fielding good. Some good instances.
Yeah, good instances, but sloppy at times. Cottrell bowls. Singh immediately calls his partner through. Yeah, was the call. That ends that Cottrell over. He's gone for 30 from his 3. 10 runs per over. Simi Singh on the 5. Adair on 6. 7 for 6 Ireland at the end of 13 overs. These two need to push things on now in the next over or so and get Ireland past that 150 mark.
So passing that 150 mark, John, do you think that will be a good total to defend here at Warner Park?
Well, it's a small enough ground, you know it yourself, you know it very well. It's a small enough ground here, and with the likes of Pollard and destructive batting from the likes of Lendl Simmons and Evan Lewis, you'd like to see Ireland get towards 170, but that's a long way off. They got off to a very good start, 50 without loss in only the 4th over, but since then the wickets have fallen. Well, Bernie back for 28, and Delaney, Tector and Wilson all going for less than 10 runs each. 6 for Delaney, Tector just got 1, Wilson out for 7. Rutherford's coming on for his first over from the southern end. Singh, it's gone to short third man, and it's shy of the stumps, and it hits the stumps and ricochets away, and they were thinking about coming back for a second one, but Bravo picked that ball up and prevented that. But again, that was good sharp fielding from Sheldon Cottrell. It hit the stumps, but Adair was safely home.
Yes, and very good throw indeed by Cottrell, and really good cricket on behalf of Bravo 2 backing up, because that is always a very important area to back up and support each other. And Bravo,
I think Adair's out. I
Pardon?
think Adair was out there.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
No.
They
What?
They didn't send it upstairs.
Oh, they did not, in truth.
So,
how did they miss
well,
out?
they missed out on that. Well, Patrick Gustard, standing in his third T20 international, is the man who didn't send that back upstairs.
Oh, I think they're going to ask the question.
Pollard's going to ask the question now.
Is it?
Well,
the DRS went already?
DRS is gone,
It
so,
is gone, so
they can't.
They can't
Send that back upstairs.
No, once it's gone, it's
yeah,
it's
and
out
we
of
can't
their
have people in the commentary box either trying to influence the umpires. So, well, actually, now they're going to have a look at it because I think Adair was out.
Well,
are they allowed to claim that review?
I
don't know.
I'm wondering to John. I think I'm agreeing with you. Whereby, if the DRS is already gone, can they still refer it? That would be interesting to know if that. It never came up.
It never came up as right. Jacqueline Williams. I think if this has been sent upstairs, Adair is out because the ball hits the stumps and he's about 2 inches shy of making his ground. And that was not great from Gustard.
Yeah, it's
sit down, you people in the commentary box trying to influence the umpires out there. That's not cricket.
Okay, do not call any names, please.
That's out.
Much better.
That's out.
Okay, it's out.
It's the right thing to do. It is the right thing in the end.
Yes.
But Gustard was poor there. I mean, if he was unsure, he surely should have sent that upstairs. And Mark Adair goes off shaking his head. He's been run out for 6 and he's pleading his case, but he has to go. And Ireland have lost their 7th wicket, and we're in the 14th over. And Pollard and Gustard exchanging words out there.
Well, John, it's an interesting situation, though. Okay, the batsman has been given out, but there were some concerns as to how they went about that referral for the decision. Well, it's been concluded. 8.13 is the current run rate. Would you think that they... Okay, all right. So then there was a difference then why the referral had to come in.
107 for 7 as Adair departs the scene.
All right.
Singh is still there, and it's going to be Barry McCarthy coming in now. We're really getting into the tail enders. McCarthy can bat. We know we've seen him bat well in the ODIs. Barry McCarthy.
What does his record look like? Quickly, John.
Barry McCarthy, the 27-year-old. This is his 8th T20 international. His highest score is only 11. But he did bat well in the ODIs, and Ireland needed now to stay out and see out the overs in particular. Rutherford just bowled his first ball, the 21-year-old, and it took an awful long time for him to get the ball back in the hand to bowl his second because they were hemming and hawing and wondering what was going on with Mark Adair, and Mark Adair has been run out officially. A lot of people trying to influence people all around the ground, fingers in the air, pointing and shouting and screaming. Anyway, Rutherford comes in and bowls to McCarthy. That's a nice shot from McCarthy. He actually works it nicely off his hip, and they're going to come back for a second here. Well, it'd be silly to do so because the West Indies are quick in the field, even though sometimes they're not the best at times of gathering the ball, but that was good stuff from Evan Lewis and restricts Ireland to a single. 108 for 7. We're just looking again at that replay again. There's no doubt about it that Adair was out.
Oh yeah, far.
And
far.
It wasn't good umpiring by Gustard. He should have, if you have any doubt, you have the television replay. Anyway, here comes Singh, and that's up in the air. That should be out as well, and that's an easy take for Sheldon Cottrell. And Ireland are falling asunder here. They've lost another wicket. 108 for 8 now. Singh is gone. And in a different kind of shot as well from Simi Singh. He's gone for 5. And Ireland are capitulating after having such a brilliant start between Sterling and O'Brien for 36 in particular. But since then, Ireland have lost wickets cheaply.
Yes, a big decline in the batting order for Ireland, but so much credit must be given to the West Indies, though. We have had some magnificent run-outs, and Pollard really ringing the changes quite nicely, and really it looks now at this present situation 108 for 8. 8 is the current run rate. It doesn't appear that
Eventful over from Rutherford, hasn't it?
Yes, indeed. And in recent overs, though, probably in the last 3 overs, we are seeing a lot much more purpose by the West Indians, especially in the outfield, that they are moving around much more alert, no doubt inspired by those run-outs.
I would be inspired by Craig Young's batting. His only highest score is 2. This is McCarthy. There'll be a lot riding on McCarthy because he has been in good form in the ODIs, as I mentioned. He punches that into the offside. He's going to run through for a comfortable 2. And Ireland on to Nelson, 111 for 8, and we've seen so often in this series and the ODI series as well, where something always happens when one team or another makes 111, and it happened again yesterday. Ireland lost a wicket when we were on Nelson.
Well, let us see if that will repeat itself here.
I used to take my feet off the ground. I'm not going to do that now. 13.5 overs gone. McCarthy at least gets Ireland off Nelson as he pushes that down to long on. And there is a single that ends 14. Rutherford has taken 1 for 5 in his opening overs. He's the replacement today for Carrie Pierre. And Ireland 112 for 8 at the end of 14 overs. McCarthy on 4. Young is on 1.
Well, Rutherford has been consistent bowling wicket-to-wicket deliveries and very appropriate deliveries to bowl, especially in 2020 cricket, as this encounter between Ireland and the West Indies is the 3rd of the 3-match series. Ireland already 1 up, so West Indies is in a very commanding, very good position, and once the weather holds well, 112 for 8. The 15th over is coming up, so they will be very pleased, the West Indies, in their performances thus far.
Okay, Ireland needed to rain now. Just pour and pour and get this game called off.
Come on, John.
112 for 8 they are, end of 14 overs. McCarthy's on 4. Young is with him out there. Josh Little is the last man to come. Ireland need to see out the overs if they possibly can do so. Shepherd bowls nicely up on the slot. McCarthy gets something on that, works it into the offside where Bravo does the fielding. 1 to him. He's up to 5, 113 for 8.
Well, also too, with relatively 2 new batsmen at the crease, this can also be a very even more particular time for the West Indies to keep the batsmen quite on a restrictive role, and because it's usually not much time to settle into your wicket in 2020 cricket.
Young facing. Shepherd is bowling. This is his last over, and Young plays that into the offside. Shy the stumps from Bravo. Misses the stumps, and the captain does the backing up. 1 to the total, 114 for 8. Young matches his highest ever score in T20 internationals, which is 2.
Well, that will speak good from a West Indian point of view, that this guy does not have a high reputation of runs at 2020 cricket.
No, more known as a bowler, obviously. That's why he's coming in at number 10, Craig Young. But the message from the dressing room is keep your wicket intact. Just try and knock up the singles. That's nicely done by McCarthy. Works the square of the wicket on the offside for a single off that Shepherd delivery. 3 singles from this. Ireland 115 for 8 now in this 3rd Sandals T20 International. Ireland leading the series by 1 game to 0 after that win in Grenada. Second match it was abandoned. This is the 3rd game. Ireland looking for a series victory for the first time against the West Indies. 115 for 8 in the 15th over. Shepherd bowls now. It's a good one. Over the head of Chase. And 1 for the over, says the umpire Gustard. And it remains on 115 for 8 as Young at the far end practices his hook shot.
Yes, and Ireland at this present moment, these two will have to be prepared that they do not get ball out, but try to extend the total as far as possible.
2 balls to go, and it's the 15th over. Shepherd bowls to Young. Good one, up on the block hold. Managed to dig that out, but it's straight to the man at short extra cover, which is Evan Lewis. And it remains on 115 for 8. Ireland started with a real blaze. At one stage they're up at 14 runs and over. It's dropped now to 7.75. Young on 2, McCarthy on 6. Young is facing Shepherd's last ball of this, his 4th over and the 15th over of Ireland's innings, having lost the toss and been put into bat. Ireland, had they won it, they would have bowled as well. Big wild swing from Young, misses the off stump to end the 15th over. McCarthy on 6, Young on 2. Ireland 115 for 8. A quick word from yourself, and we'll have Barry back in the commentary box.
Well, that was probably the better of the 4 overs by Shepherd, operating from the northern or CA Paul Southwell Media Centre end here at Warner Park. But the West Indies, they are in a very commanding position. 115 for 8, 7.67 is the current run rate. So they will be pleased, Pollard and the West Indies team would be pleased here at Warner Park and trying to equal the series. As I say, a pleasant good evening once again to Barry Wilkinson. Barry, welcome back.
As Shafin Rutherford comes in and it bowls to McCarthy, who's tucking the ball out to the mid-wicket area for a single. The total goes up by 1 now. It crawls to 116 for 8. Hard to believe that Ireland were 52 without loss after over number 4. The runs have stopped. We've got to thank Captain Pollard for that. 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 17. He's got 7 wickets in 2 games. He's done very well. And we've also seen Shepherd 1 for 37 to back him up. Here he comes in again now, Rutherford and bowls. And this one is tucked backward of point. Well fielded there by Dwayne Bravo, and there's no run. McCarthy's got 7. Young has got 2. And the Irish, of course, after being asked to bat by the West Indies, now 116. We've had a couple of rain interruptions. And hopefully the bad weather has gone. It's quite windy here in St Kitts. As he comes in again now and bowls to Young. And Young this time gets the Yorker, digs it out, plays it back to the bowler, and there's no run.
Well, what I like about Rutherford too, since he has come on from the southern end, he have been trying for a lot of Yorker-length deliveries, and especially now in the depth of the innings with 8 wickets going down, I think this is very appropriate to try more of those deliveries, and he's doing it nicely.
Here he comes in again and bowls, and this time Young is turning the ball backward a square, almost a short fine leg. And there comes young Evan Lewis off of the boundary to do the fielding, and there is just 1 run. So they've got just about 4 overs left, but Ireland will be looking to at least get 130, 135. The West Indies, I can tell you, when they come out to bat, they're not going to be making any sport. They're going to try and rush to that target because of the rain, and they also would want to keep ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis Stern. Here he comes in again and bowls to McCarthy, and McCarthy is pulling in the air just over the head of mid-wicket. A diving Lendl Simmons there could not pluck that out of the air. Rovman Powell does the fielding on the boundary, and the batsman will get just 1.
Well, probably a taller fieldsman might have had a little better opportunity.
Yeah, perhaps a Joe Garner.
Very. What a
Sullivan
great guy. Hi, good evening
Jason
to you,
Holden.
Joel.
Here he comes in again now and bowls to Young, and Young this time is staring this one craftily down to third man. There's no one there. It's going to go into the boundary, the first boundary in 4 overs, and that's a welcome 4 there for the Irish. 122 for 8 to end the over. We've got 4 overs left. McCarthy's got 8, Young has got 7. The run rate 7.63. Rutherford 1 for 12 from his 2.
And executing that boundary too, what was good about the stroke, that the batsman didn't place any emphasis on power. He just used the pace and timing and placement and earned himself 4 runs. Also to Barry, when the Ireland go in defence of whatsoever total they get, obviously it's going to be a factor with the ball and the grip and so forth. So also too, that can be an incentive for the West Indies team.
Dwayne Bravo's going to come back. 2 overs, no maidens, 1 for 15. And here he comes in now with number 47 on his back. He runs in with the weather. Very, very breezy here at Warner Park. And this one is tucked away out into the mid-wicket area. 1 run will be taken, and that's all there'll be. Hayden Walsh Jr. is onto that quite quickly. Single there taken, and the total 123 for 8. I want to go back to that run out. A massive mistake there made by Patrick Gustard. A cardinal sin not to go and ask a third umpire for his or in this instance her thoughts, because it's Jacqueline Williams. But that was a cardinal sin, and he paid the ultimate price of embarrassment when he was indeed showing up that it was a run out that he should have called for. I'll tell you a bit about that afterwards. Here comes Bravo now and bowls to Young again, and Young this time is on the front foot, plays the ball into the onside. A bit of a collision there between the batsman and the bowler, and 1 run is taken. Now they were just about to bowl the ball, and Kyron Pollard, I think, was given a signal. Kyron, stop the match. The replays just showed that was a run out. Now what is interesting, suppose the television did not go to a replay before the ball was bowled. In other words, the television would have been discussing, was that a run out or not? And they went for, and it was seen by everyone, and the game stopped. Now suppose they didn't go. that means that the batsman would never have known if he was out or not.
That's right.
I think the third umpire should have intervened on that occasion. Here comes Bravo now. Bowls to McCarthy, who's turning the ball forward a square. He'll get another run here. Will they come back for the second? No, they won't. So the point I'm making is that in an instance like that, I think the third umpire should have stopped the game and say to Patrick Gustar, Patrick, please come upstairs and check for that decision. But in the end, he was made to be embarrassed.
Point taken.
And I think that the third umpire should have really stepped in, and she should have stopped the game. The game should not have been stopped by Kyron Pollard, who was given a signal by someone who said, Kyron, stop. Go upstairs and check that. Here comes Bravo now, bowls to Young. Young is hitting this in the air to backward point, and he's out caught. That's a very, very soft dismissal. Bravo gets a wicket. Very easy one. He won't get easier wickets than that. There was Young just trying to push the ball, but he got a slow delivery. It popped up in the air to the backward point. Lendl Simmons taking the catch, and another wicket to Dwayne Bravo. And Ireland now, they are in real trouble at 125 now for 9.
Well, and in fairness to Bravo as a bowler too, having that experience and so consistently executes that slow delivery and disguise that he caught the batsman napping there, and it's always a very good delivery, and he is one of the experts of the delivery, especially in the 2020 context. But coming back to the point about the DRS and shoot and the chemistry working with each other. I thought
Balls to Little, and Little gets a Yorker delivery, plays it straight to mid wicket, can't score. 125 for 9. This is a very disappointing performance from the Irish, considering their wonderful start again. But they've depended a lot on Sterling and on O'Brien, and when one of those two have not come good, I think they've just wavered a little bit, and they have been unable to build those big partnerships. Balburney tonight was unfortunately run out, and they just haven't been able to get anyone to build a big partnership. As Bravo comes in again and bowls a little, this one is steering this one down to third man. He'll get a run, so he's off the mark. They move now to 126 for 9. 17 overs gone, 3 left. Bravo's figures looking really good. He's got 3 overs, no maidens, 2 for 19, and the possibility, if a wicket doesn't fall in this over, that he will have another over to get a third wicket to join Kyron Pollard.
Well, and Barry, as you know also too, there's a lot of conversation about the recalling of Dwayne Bravo. So he now, as he is bowling a very good spell, would have to reclaim and prove so many of the pundits wrong that the selectors were right to bring him back. And thus far, he is proving that point. We all know his ability in terms of going forward, but West Indies will have a great concern though to improve their feeling comprehensively for the World Cup.
Yeah, so the World Cup to me is such a long time away. I mean, I hear people talk about the World Cup like it's next month. The World Cup is in October, November.
Oh, okay.
Anything is
Almost
possible. Here comes Shafane Rutherford now and bowls in this delivery. He's beaten him. All ends up. One that started on the line in the middle stump and cut back in. A brutal off cutter there, and it cut Little in two as it was taken there by the keeper. Very well bowled there by Shafane Rutherford, who was just a bit deceptive with his pace as well.
Yes, and really doing the ideal thing, trying to bowl most of his deliveries wicket to wicket.
Here he comes in now again and bowls to Little, and Little is again getting a good delivery on the off stump, defends it, plays it back to the bowler. There's no run. I want to just talk about this World Cup. The World Cup squad is so far, so many things can happen between now
the time and yes.
And when that squad is picked end of the CPL in September. Someone could emerge at the CPL and oust someone. Here comes again this delivery that's turned into the onside from Shafane Rutherford. A Little just tucks the ball down to short fine leg and gets a single. 127 for 9. We've got series against Sri Lanka. We've got series against New Zealand, South Africa. You've got the CPL to be played. So much cricket to be played before you can think about the World Cup. I just can't even begin to construe what a squad of the World Cup would look like as this delivery is driven down the ground. Rutherford got a hand on it, and I think he will regret it because he's in some pain. The throw comes in, and the batsmen get a single as the ball goes down to the mid-off area. 128 for 9 in over number 18.
Well, it was not the ball in hand of Rutherford, it was the left hand. Really, he's a right arm, medium fast bowler operating from the southern end, so that was in his behalf that he didn't strike the ball in fingers.
Here he comes in again and bowls, and this delivery is pulled back with a square, as this one is going down to the fielder in Lewis, and Lewis gets one, and that's all there'll be. 129 then for 9, with one ball left and over number 18.
Well, and for those of our listeners who might just be joining the broadcast, and if you're joining it for the first time, you're hearing the voice of Barry Wilkerson. Very good assessment about the World Cup, because so many things can happen in terms of players performing before that time.
Here he comes in again now, bowls to McCarthy. McCarthy's pulling. That's a big, ferocious shot that's gone into the stand, onto the scoreboard for 6. First 6 since the 11th over. And my goodness me, it has come at a very timely period there for the Irish, who really need to get some runs. The over ends, 18 overs gone, and Ireland are 135 now for 9, with Rutherford's figures just being spotted a little bit. 1 for 21 from 3, but still very tidy, as the Irish, with McCarthy on 17, Little on 3, have 2 more overs to possibly bat unless they lose a wicket. Interesting enough, the captain has taken off Bravo and he's brought back Sheldon Cottrell.
Wow.
Cottrell has 1 more over. I'm a bit surprised by that, because Bravo was bowling very good, came and got the wicket. He still had an over left, and he's brought back Cottrell, who has been very expensive. He got struck for 5 consecutive 4s.
Well, I also too is amazingly surprised, but Cottrell is on his way.
Here he comes in now and bowls to Little, and Little comes down the pitch and swings, misses, taken there by the keeper. Yeah, some strange things here from Kieran Pollard. Cottrell, 3 overs, no man is done for 30. He's the most expensive of the 6 bowlers used tonight. And you've got Bravo, who has an over left, and you didn't use him. And if you're trying to say, well, look, we're going to keep him for the last over, that doesn't make sense, because there's 1 wicket to fall. 135 for 9. I thought you would have brought him to get the wicket now. Here comes Cottrell and bowls to Little, and Little is again beaten by a good delivery in the line of the off stump, looking to steer it to third man. Beaten for pace on that occasion, taken there by the keeper, and there's no run. There's a third man, there's a backward point, a sweep and an extra cover, there's a mid-off, a long on, straightish mid-wicket, a mid-wicket on the boundary, and there's also a long leg as well on the boundary. The crowd, just about 300-400 spectators. The crowd has been really disappointing tonight, but of course the rain might have hampered their thoughts of coming, or dampened their spirits. Here comes Cottrell. This one is swung out to the mid-wicket area. Running around there is Hayden Walsh Jr. Spectacular. Fielding there. Again, he's held kid in the air, out to long on. 1 bounce there to the captain, Kieran Pollard, and that run will take the total now to $137 for 9. And they're going to dash off a quick single, and they'll get it too. Shafane Rutherford was there, was thinking of throwing the stumps. At the stumps, he decided against it, and there's just 1 run. We also must thank Century 21 Grenada, Beverly Renwick, and Paula Latouche doing a great job there, as well as the beautiful Kaylin Gangadine. It's 138 for 9. Hello to all of our friends listening there across the Line Left network throughout the entire Caribbean. We get in a lot of text messages from Taj FM, 92.3 FM in Trinidad and Tobago. If you're heading up to San Fernando, listen to the broadcast. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. 1 ball left and over number 19. 138 for 9 as Cottrell bowls, and this delivery is outside the line of the off stump, taken there by the keeper. A dot ball to end the over. 19 overs gone. Little has 5, McCarthy has 18. Ireland being asked to bat are 138 for 9 in this 3rd Sandals T20 International. The run rate is 7.26 with 1 over left. The Irish, I thought, should have been limited to 125, but a very perplexing thing there to leave the last over for Dwayne Bravo to bowl.
Yes, and really, always when a bowler too is in form, just like a batsman, you should keep him going. And in the depth, I think that Bravo can be considered of one of the better bowlers in the depth moments of cricket. And especially 2020 cricket. Well, that was not to be. He's now being called to operate from that to bring back your most expensive bowler in the depth moments, and Bravo proving now in his first delivery in the final over, getting the final wicket. So 138 is the total on the board made by Ireland. The West Indies would no doubt be feeling confident that they have a opportunity if they can get in the overs to be bowled, that we will all hope that the weather will stay away. And this can also end in a very interesting way, whichever way the series goes. But we see a very good opportunity for West Indies to equal the series and make it 1-1, Barry.
So as we give you a full recap, the West Indies won the toss again. They chose to field first. We had 2 rate interruption. Kevin O'Byrne, the captain, was run out by Rutherford. Direct hit for 28 from 23 balls, 3 fours. Delaney was caught, the keeper Puranov of Pollard, for 6. Hector was caught by Puranov of Pollard for 1. We're going to take a quick break and go straight to hear what Kyron Pollard has to say. Let's hear from the captain, Kyron Pollard, and his thoughts.
What happened out there?
I don't know what happened out there, what happened inside. We got that break and, at least, we're giving some stern words. At the end of the day, you have to come in day out and try to give in that performance, and that's all intensity. You can't come one day and do it and the other day not do it. So, again, it's what took place inside the dressing room, and again, the guys came out with them with some fire in their belly.
A word on Dwayne Bravo. You can rely on a bowler now, 4 overs, skilled, Yorkers, slower balls. Great weapon to have back in the team.
Yeah, despite popular demand. When you look at it, we were staying on the barrel and who got the breakthrough for us. So again, sometimes you have to take away all negative that's around yourself, and we as a team know what he can bring for us. So again, given the ball, he got the breakthrough for us, and again, it's just a matter of trying to contain after that. So again, that's why it's a team sport. Each and everybody have a role to play. Now it's about roles and responsibility, and they have to be accountable for what your role is. So those are the things that we are preaching, and hopefully it's defendable. We can go out and we can chase those runs.
Fantastic, all the best. Well bowled again.
Thank you.
So Kyron Pollard there. I thought that he would have. I thought the interviewer would have asked him, Niall O'Brien would have asked him about that run opportunity. But hey, all right. Let's go back to the scorecard. I'll start from the top. Sterling, LBW ball, Bravo 11. O'Brien was caught Hetmeyer ball, Pollard 36. Balbirnie was run out for 28. Delaney was caught by the keeper Puranov of Pollard for 6. Tector was caught Puran Bull Pollard for 1. Wilson was caught Simmons Bull Shepherd for 7. Adair was run out for 6. Simi Singh was caught Cottrell Bull Rutherford for 5. McCarthy came 18 and not out. Young was caught Simmons Bull Bravo 8. And Little was caught the keeper Puran Bull Bravo 5. Only 7 extras. The West Indies have improved tremendously on that since the new policy to be fined for bowling no balls internally. If you are bowling a no ball in the nets or at the match, you're fined internally now by the head coach Phil Simmons. Since then, they've only bowled 1 no ball at the start of the series, and that has obviously paid dividends. They should be fined as well for playing rash shots, and we'll see less rash shots. Anyway, we had the wickets falling at 50, 55, 74, 76, 93, 94, 107, 125 and 138. Cottrell, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 33. Shepherd, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 37. Pollard, the pick of the bowlers, 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 17. Dwayne Bravo was right behind him, 3 overs and 1 ball, no maiden, 3 for 19. Walsh with 1 over that cost 6 runs. Rutherford, 3 overs, no maiden, 1 for 21. He also bowled very well. All told, the Irish 138, the West Indies need 139 to win this clash. Can they do it? Do you think that they have it in them to win this clash once there's no rain and draw the series?
Yes, I think they can do it, and what is going to also be a factor in so doing, that they will have to try and avoid the indiscretions in terms of their shot selection. But you alluded to something earlier, Barry, which I have always been advocating for, that they should put some penalties in place, and it will go also along by a payment by performance, in the sense whereby about the no balls, and that has been very fundamental in the two encounters, even in the abandoned one. I'm not too certain if there was any. I don't believe so. On recollection of thoughts that there was, but we will confirm it. But there was none in this particular innings for the West Indies. So that is a very good move by Phil Simmons, and he must be congratulated for incentives like that, which will bring about avoiding the bonuses, deliveries to bowled, and also a free hit where the batsman can only be given out by the run-out route. So that within itself is proven some areas of respectability and results coming the West Indies way.
Well, our statistician tells us there were no balls last night.
Okay.
In fact, there were only 4 extras when Ireland made 147 for 9 last night, made up of 1 and 3 leg buys.
And also too, the wide is also a factor, and it is good to note that only 1 wide. So once free hits, and I would hope from a West Indian point of view, that will just keep on improving. But chasing down 138, the openers getting out there, I do not see much of a proposition in terms of overhauling 138. But on the other hand, when Ireland will bowl, no doubt also too some challenges will come about the grip on the ball, because we know we've been having consistent rain, and even though the surface, the outfield that is, might be dry to an extent, there will still be that factor that the grip is going to be important. So that could present some challenges too for all the bowlers from Ireland.
Yeah, we're about to have a resumption in just a minute. We've got, of course, the pitch being rolled, and we also have the Irish warming up, just getting things right. 139 to win from 120 balls at 6.95 runs per over. That's the equation for the West Indies to try and win this game. We're going to keep a very close hand on the Duckworth-Lewis Stern, because that's going to play a big role tonight, I can tell you. And we anticipate that even though outside is good for now, that we're supposed to have a bit more rain later on. You look at the conditions here in
last evening. Even though it was an abandoned match, we didn't saw any deliveries keeping down ankle height or invariable in bounds. And so far of the concluded innings, where Ireland batted first and scored 138, that has also to see both openers for the West Indies in approaching the total of 138. It will be good, like I said earlier, in my view, once they can avoid those indiscretions. Because take, for example, last evening, whereby Lyndon Simmons got 10, I think, in the first few deliveries, but then still got out caught to a fielder on the deep mid-wicket, when probably he could have been trying to look for a 4 instead of a 6. He went for the 6, not timed it as he would have liked, and he was out caught. So once those indiscretions does not come in, I do not see, because of the nature of the pitch is not different in variable bounds, I think West Indies have a very good chance of equaling the series and making it 1-1.
Yeah, I think they do, but they have to come out and win it. I still think they're chasing 15, 20 runs more than they should be, but that's all
behind us now.
That's all behind us now. They have to try and get the runs. The pitch still looks very good. It's being rolled, which tells me it's going to even out. Should be even a better batting paradise. Let's get the thoughts. Oh, well, our technician has just gone. He's gone to get some lunch. I was going to get the thoughts of Darren Sammy and. Let's get the thoughts of Darren Sammy and Niall O'Brien. Let's hear what they have to say about the continuation of this game.
But if you have an impact bowler like Dwayne Bravo, who could give you that assurity, and he wants that challenge, especially in the back end when the pressure is on. He wants to be the guy to come in and have that impact for the team, and that type of attitude could rub on the junior players.
What about the Ireland bowlers? What have they learnt from watching the West Indies? It's a below par target. What have the Ireland bowlers learned from watching the West Indies boys operate?
Yeah, well, they could learn from their batting as well. What was easy to hit, and they would go to the dressing room and say, look, every time there was space on the ball, it was easy to get away to the boundary. So they will take the page from Pollard and Bravo, the way they mix their pace and vary their pace with line and length and making the batsman hit to the side where the breeze was blowing. So it's going to be a difficult target, but West Indies, the last two times they played against England here, they didn't score 100. But Pollard will be looking to level that series and will be giving his batsmen a strict warning to go out there and get the job done.
For Dwayne Bravo, it's all about up here. 450 plus games, a lot of experience. Between the years, fantastic. Slow balls, his Yorkers. Let's have a look at these variations, the stock ball and the slow ball.
Yes, look, and his slow ball or cut is different from Pollard because Pollard uses his height, so he relies on the bounce. What Bravo does, he puts a lot of rev on the deliveries, and when you see the batsman, it seems like it's coming like a full toss, but it actually dips. And he has outfoxed batsmen all over the world with that slower ball delivery, and that's his go-to ball. And today, your lads didn't have no answer.
Well, someone who has an answer, Samuel Badger, is very disappointed up in the commentary. Was top of the tree, but Bravo's the main man again.
Yes, I don't think Samuel is happy with Bravo coming out of retirement. But look, we need him in the team, and it shows. Leading wicket taker for the West Indies, and pretty good average as well. You would say the economy rate is a bit high, but remember, Bravo always bowl at the back end of the inning where the pressure is on, and sometimes he is needed to bowl in the power play as well. So his experience is valuable to any team he plays in.
Fantastic, Darren. Thanks very much. Back up to you, boys.
Thank you so much. He's so correct, Darren Sammy. So we're going to have a resumption. The umpires are making their way out. Umpire Gregory Braffett and Patrick Gustard, the Barbadian and the Jamaican respectively. Jonathan Blaze is the fourth umpire. He's making his way off. And it means now that we're going to have resumption and get things started again. It's very clear outside at the moment. Will it remain that way? I can't really see the clouds in the distance. But I've been reliably told by the local persons that things should be pretty good in terms of weather for the rest of the evening. Still a very small crowd, just about 300 spectators. Very disappointing in contrast to last night when we had a good, I would say, 2,500, 3,000 persons. But I think the rain earlier might have scared away some people. Here come the Irish. They're making their way out onto the field. And soon from now, we're going to see Lyndon Simmons and Evan Lewis also come out to make their way out to get things started for the West Indies. We're going to hear from Samuel Badri in a moment as well, but we're going to have the Irish try and defend 138. Victor, can they defend 138 runs?
Well, they can put up, and obviously runs on the board is runs on the board. 138, yeah, it sounds small. It can still end up to be a challenge. But I have a different view to Darren Sammy, though. He said it's a difficult total.
Yeah, very surprised by that view.
I was surprised by that view. I mean, he's entitled to it, but I think what is going to be very relevant and important for the West Indies in approaching the 138, it will have to be no indiscretions. They have to keep exchanging the strife. When the loose deliveries come their way, when they present themselves, they will have to make the right shot selections and just keep the scoreboard ticking over. And I think based upon the nature of the pitch, like I said, I don't think it will be any difference to what we saw when the Ireland batted Barry. Now the West Indies is going to bat second. I don't think from the nature of the pitch here at Warner Park that we're going to see any invariable bunks or inconsistencies in the bunks. But what I think is important for these two, Evan Lewis and Lyndon Simmons, is to get the West Indies off to a good start. And once they do not bring in the indiscretions into play, I think that it is a total that can manage to overhaul and equal the series.
Well, Evan Lewis is coming out with his helmet. Lyndon Simmons is coming out without anything, no hat, no helmet. That's because we're going to see Paul Sterling bowling again. I wonder if McCarthy is going to be bowling from the other end, or Simi Singh is going to open the bowling. Perhaps he knows something that we don't, but he's come out without any protection at all, Lyndon Simmons.
Well, and Lyndon Simmons also too, he is well known here at Warner Park, and this has been one of the most successful venues that he has scored heavily. Warner Park, because I think in the last CPL he had a 90, and so an interesting move came when it came down to a super over. But play is ready now, the West Indies, and to tell you more about it is Barry Wilkerson.
So here comes Sterling to bowl the first over, and this delivery is a bang on target on the line of the off stump, spinning back into the right-handed Simmons, and there is no run. Last night he had a 6, he had a 4, and then he had a wicket. So let's see if that is going to be the current theme tonight. Here comes Sterling in again, the off spinner, bowls to Lyndon Simmons, and Simmons gets the delivery that he's stroking off the back foot out to cover point. O'Brien is there, and there is still no run. West Indies need 139 to win as the target in this third Sandals T20 International. Simmons, a man who is very aggressive, 52 matches, 1,022 runs, averages 23.77. As this delivery, again, he's on the front foot, steers to the short third man, and there is still no run. Sterling has been so valuable in these ODIs and T20s. He's got off to a good start for his side, and he's also bowled quite well when asked upon. Here he comes again and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons is getting the ball on the line of the middle stump. It straightens. He's playing it back to the bowler, and we're on our way to see perhaps this is going to be a maiden. Well, that would be a shocker. Here he comes again. Sterling, a very robust individual. Spins the ball from hand to hand. Comes in again now and bowls to Simmons. And Simmons is on the front foot and pushes the ball to cover. He'll get off the mark and gets a single as the ball goes to the cover point area. And there's just one run. So the West Indies are one without loss now, with Sterling still bowling, one ball left in his first over. He's got 17 wickets in 75 matches, Paul Sterling. So he's not a frontline bowler by any means, but they're just trying something different, the Irish. They're bowling to a man who's quite aggressive as well. Talking about Evan Lewis. The keeper there is quite vocal. He's coming around the wicket to Evan Lewis. There's a short third man, there's a backward point, there's a cover point and an extra cover. What an arc there for Lewis. As he comes in now and bowls to Evan Lewis, and this time Lewis is beaten with a good delivery outside the line of the off stump. What a Sterling over, no pun intended, but a really good over there from Paul Sterling. One without loss after over number one. The Windies need 139 to win.
Yeah, and Sterling operating from the southern instead of the northern. I think one of the ploys could possibly be that with the wind coming from east to west, that if he can get the batsman hitting it into the wind might just hold it up more. momentarily. So, and if you realize too, for the left-hander, it's been also to a heavily packed off left and right. It's always better to take it off and put it behind the stumps than to call back.
Well, he won't be able to put it behind the stumps because it's a batsman. But it's McCarthy coming in now and balls to Simmons, who's now helmeted, and Simmons is stroking this delivery off the back foot out to Simi Singh at extra cover, and there is no run. So 1 without loss. West Indies after a slow start. Simi Singh, I thought he might have been called into operation as well. Barry McCarthy has been a really good bowler on this tour for Ireland. I think he's done a good job with the ball. He's a big strapping fast bowler, about 6'4", 6'5", broad shoulders, built like a West Indian almost. Here he comes in again and passes umpire Gustard and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons is pulling this one in the air. It's gone high, hard and handsome. It's gone for 6 over mid-wicket. A 6 to saver for Simmons, and it's now 7 without loss.
Yes, and Simmons, Lindell, that is, his feet movement is so quick that he got into line that quickly. It was a short delivery, and usually he executes short deliveries quite nicely. We saw it last night when he struck a 6 and a 4, and from a West Indian point of view, they will hope that it would not be the pattern here tonight.
Yeah, well, that was a poor ball. It was a ball that had a
Barry, about indiscretions, because if you had an over so far that you've already gotten 10 runs, then there is no way that, unless it's a very good delivery that deceives you, that's in the bowlers, but not to give your hand away.
Here comes McCarthy in again and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons this time is steering this one back with a point. That's going to go down to the boundary for 4 more. Good batting here from Lendo Simmons. He did not hit that too hard. In the end, he placed it really well. There's no third man, there's no sweeper, and he just positioned that ball, used the pace of the delivery to steer it, and steered it just to the left of the backward point, and once it passed the backward point, it was going to go down the hill, and it has for 4 more runs. Simmons on fire. He's got 15 now, and he's got all the West Indies runs because they're 15 without loss.
And we saw that also too in the innings for Ireland, where a lot of the batsmen used the pace and the placement instead of power.
Here he comes in again, Barry McCarthy. That's one good thing about him, his name. Here he comes in and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons this time is stroking this one out to the mid-off. Can't score on this occasion, and there's no run, 15 without loss.
Well, it is a fact then, Barry, that it's just the first name that both of you all have. There is no relationship, no, obviously.
Well, no, if he was a Wilkinson, but he's a Barry, so that would make it ineligible.
That's right. But also to Wilkinson, there's a heavily packed offside field, so it is obvious that the plan of the line of attack can just be just on about off stump, based upon that the majority of fielders are on the offside.
Here he comes in again now, McCarthy, and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons this time is getting one down the leg side, turns it to mid-wicket. He dashes off for a single, will get it quite easily. Umpire Patrick Gustard is having a very close eye, a careful look to make sure that if it hit the stumps, he was in a good position.
and Simmons is releasing the helmet
and
once
Simmons
again.
is taking the helmet off again.
Yeah,
This
so
is
I
crazy.
find he's making some strange movements with it. Well, I don't know how much a motivator or how much it helps or builds his character at the crease, but it is strange in the way that he is exchanging the helmet. Anyway, he goes without a cap or the helmet, sporting the number 54 on the back of his jersey. And as I alluded to earlier, Barry, that once these players just keep exchanging the strike, await the loose delivery when they present themselves, try and earn themselves boundaries, but not trying to produce strokes when deliveries are not being bowled to either batsman. Well, Simmons will be on strike, so after the little slow start in the first over, they made up for it in the second. Well, 16 it is without loss, 139 is the target for victory, and the bowler already having some issues. He's using the towel now, trying to dry the ball, and play continues.
So here comes Sterling down balls to Simmons, and Simi Singh, correction. Simi Singh, the off spinner, so still spin from that southern end, and this one is played out to the long on area for 1, and there's just a run to take the total to 17, and Simmons has got all the runs, 17 without loss.
Yes, so it will be interesting to see in a while the required rate. Well, presently they are 17 without loss. We are into now over number 3. So good little start. They will just have to keep exchanging that strike and capitalizing on any loose deliveries.
Here he comes again, and bowls this time to the left-handed Evan Lewis, who of course is looking for his first run. Here he comes in on balls to Lewis, and Lewis is driving. He tugged that from outside the line, the off stump out to mid-wicket, down to the boundary, but there's a fielder there, and he'll come back for the second run. That was not a clean shot from Evan Lewis. He went to drive that into the offside, but in the end he tugged it, came off the inner portion of the bat, almost the inside edge, and went out to the mid-wicket area. A very ugly shot, but he got 2 runs for it.
Right, well, possibly a little bottom hand came into play when he made contact with the ball, but anyway, he was safe in the end because it was all around the ground and he earned himself 2 runs, but he too will have to just try and settle in first and, just exchange a strike.
Here he comes in again and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis this time is getting a good ball on the line. The off stump defends it, plays it back to the bowler, who is relaying the ball, and there is no run.
Well, even before the bowler, or just as the bowler released, it seemed like the intention was then premeditated by Evan Lewis. For moments, it looked like he was thinking about a big shot.
Yes, he seems to be a bit impatient. Here he comes in again and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis is cutting, punching this one beautifully off the back foot, but can't pierce that heavily packed offside field, and there's no run there for him. 19 without loss over number 3, chasing 139 to win.
Yes, and they came out with a plan, heavy pack offside field, and quite rightly so, bowling just on or about off stump. Evan Lewis is left-hander, he's on strike.
Here he comes in again, Simi Singh, and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis this time is swinging this in the air. This has gone out to long on. This is a chance for a catch. Is it going to be taken? No, and it's actually parried back in. It was one that the fielder was running for all the money he had from that wide long on position, trying to take a catch, but he was back in. It was always going to be tough there for him. And Barry McCarthy, who was running back, was trying to take the catch with his back turned. He was able to stop the ball from going into the boundary because he actually was able to pull it back. Very good fielding, but he just wasn't able to take the catch on that occasion. And a bit of premeditation again there by Evan Lewis. It could have cost him his wicket.
Well, and probably there again some indiscretions creeping in, but quite rightly so now. The man is placed on the long on boundary.
Here he comes again now and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis this time is pulling in the air, out to backward square, over backward square. That's a 6 to Lewis. A big shot. It was a mistimed shot. He did not get that off of the full portion of the bat, but the boundary is so small that what happened is that it just skied in the air, and the wind just blew it and just carried it over the boundary. 6 runs there to Evan Lewis, and the West Indies are sitting pretty now, 27 without loss after 3 overs. Simmons has 17, Lewis has got 10, and yet again Lendl Simmons is asking to bring back the helmet on for him so he can face the pace of, it looks to me like it's going to be Josh Little.
Yes, and really a good stroke by Evan Lewis. It was a short pitch delivery, and really that is what these 2 batsmen will have to keep on doing, putting away whatsoever bad deliveries present, but at the same time too trying to avoid as many dot balls as possible and try to keep exchanging the strike. So
well, they want to keep ahead of the Duckworth-Lewis method, the Duckworth-Lewis score. So that's why they're going to see a bit more urgency.
Okay, right.
I think a game is constituted with after 3 more overs. The game is constituted, so they need to just hope that the rain doesn't fall in the next couple. And that ball actually hit a gentleman in his face. He's now going to get some attention, medical attention. It looks like he got the ball bounced and hit him in his face. I don't know if it's cut him, but I hope he's okay. Josh Little, left arm seamer, comes in on bowls to Simmons. And Simmons is driving pleasantly through cover point. That's gone for 4. Again, he didn't use a lot of ferocity in that shot. He just timed it, came on the front foot and leant into that and just played a really nice shot past Porterfield there and Sterling, and that was 4 runs there to the batsman. 4 good-looking runs as well, and the total now races on to 31 without loss.
Yes, and what was good about the execution is that he did not place his emphasis on power. It was about placement and timing, and he earned himself 4 more runs, Lyndall Simmons.
Here he comes in again, Little. As he passes umpire Gustard now and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons gets a short ball, a slow, short delivery. They want a single. No, says Lyndall Simmons. Perhaps a good decision in the end. It was a slow, short ball. Simmons was into the shot early, but then he said, look, this is a slow ball. If I hook it too early, I might mistime it. And he just paddled it and played it safely down to backward square. There's no run.
Yes, and that is good. That was good shot selection on behalf of Lyndall Simmons. Now the fielder goes right back on the square leg boundary.
And he brings in the fielder from long on to mid on to keep the 2 men out. Here he comes in now and bowls to Simmons again. Simmons gets a short ball again and pulls it. But there's a fielder down the mid-wicket boundary, so they'll just get a single. Simmons goes now to 22, I make it. And it's 32 without loss with Lewis on 10.
Well, the intention there by Simmons was good in recognizing that 2 fielders were out in the deep on the leg side, a square leg and a deep mid-wicket, and he pulled it along the ground. You see him now looking, that's Lyndall Simmons, looking at the toe end of the bat, so probably he didn't time it as he would have liked.
Yeah, you're right. They're changing the field now for Evan Lewis. There's a short third man, there's a backward point, a cover point, an extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, a mid-wicket on the boundary, and a backward square on the boundary, and a short flying leg. So the 2 men out of the circle are all on the onside, anticipating that Lewis might want to pull the ball. Here comes Little now and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis gets a full delivery, and he's playing it back to the bowler. That's the 3-card trick, giving him the dummy, putting 2 men on the boundary for the pull, and then pitching the ball up. Caught him by surprise.
Yes, and good thinking on behalf of the bowler, thinking and trying to get into the batsman's head. But it is usually difficult, Barry, when there is a left and right hander at the crease, and the strike has been exchanged consistently with singles. Bowlers always have to adjust their lines and length when they bowl into a left and right hander.
Here he comes in again as he passes the umpire and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis tails away and pulls the ball, tugs it though, doesn't time it, and it goes to mid-wicket, and there's just 1 run there for him. Lewis goes up by 1 to 11. It's 33 without loss. The target is 139. The current run rate 8.61. The required 6.5. The Windies are ahead at this stage.
Well, and these two, they have differences in terms of their shot selection. Lyndall Simmons will at times more place his emphasis on timing and placement, but consistently though, Evan Lewis is more of the aggressor in the sense whereby he will usually try to hit more deliveries for sixes. Well, he's in good form.
Yeah, they're both batting pretty well. They make a good pair. As Little comes in again now and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons gets a short ball down the leg side. They're peeling for a catch at the wicket. Now that says the umpire. I'm wondering if that shouldn't be a wide.
Well, they might be going upstairs now.
No, I don't think they'll go upstairs with that. But if it didn't touch anything, certainly that was a wide. It was a leg side wide, but it might have touched his trousers. I'll look to the replay. The over ends, 4 gone, 33 without loss.
Well, at this present moment, the West Indies are there off to a good start. But what will be interesting, like you've been indicating, the Duckworth Lewis might come into it. So they will have to make certain that they're going at a rate which was far better than Ireland. Well, both batsmen now just having a mid-pitch conversation.
Yeah, we're going to have another change in bowling. Mark Adair is going to come on. He's been brought in to do the business for the Irish after we saw the bowler Dockrell being dropped. He was docked for not getting any wickets. So a bit of a conversation going on between Wilson, Mark Adair, and looks like Andrew Balburney. 3 of them having a big discussion. Mark Adair, the man from Belfast, I understand. Yeah. 139 the target, 33 without loss. Simmons got 22. Lewis has 11. 4 overs gone. We're into the 5th. What are you trying to tell me, Victor?
Deep cover on the boundary now.
Yeah, so there's a short third man. There's a backward point. There's a sweeper. Extra cover and a long off. And here he comes in now, Adair, and bowls to Simmons. And Simmons comes across the stumps. This is in the air, out to cover. He's going to go into no man's land, and they'll just get a single there. But Lyndall Simmons was quite quickly running that, and it meant that the single was taken, but a little bit of thought going into that shot could have been easily out again.
Yes, and I thought that Evan Lewis could have been trying to play a more orthodox stroke, getting over it and just trying to drive the ball along the ground and earning whatsoever he can pick up. Because at the start that they have gotten right now, they do not need those indiscretions coming into play. I think the pitch is still playing nice. It is still consistent in terms of bounce.
Here he comes in again now and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons is cutting, punching this one out to the mid-off area, and he'll get another single. A dear medium pacer, bowls late 70s, early 80s, a kind of Dwayne Bravo kind of bowler. He bowls a lot of slower balls, tries to depend on his variation. You won't see him bowling a 90 or 92 mile per hour delivery. The West Indies know that they want to get ahead of the run rate as Adair comes in now and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis this time is driving powerfully out to the deep cover. It has gone so quickly that a single might not have even been on because he hit the ball so fiercely to the sweeper. It went straight to the sweeper and they were going for a single, and then he said, hold on, I got to run fast. It went straight to him so quickly that they had to run the single.
Yes.
Very, very quick.
And he's a very hard hitter of the ball, is Evan Lewis. Now the right-hander Simmons comes in, 2 strike 2, who is equally a hard hitter of the ball.
Here he comes in the there now and bowls to Simmons, and Simmons is driving in the air. A chance for a catch at mid-off. He settles under it and catch is dropped. Oh, that was very ugly. Balbirnie, the captain, should feel very, very upset about that. He had a year and a day to settle onto that. He watched it, and then it watched him. It went right between his hands, and that's a big let off there for the Irish and the West Indies.
Well, I wouldn't make an excuse for the captain in terms of putting down that one. The only thing I thought about the height, and if it got anywhere in between the lighting, so he might have been...
No, bad positioning. Very bad positioning. I think he needs to go back to primary school to learn how to catch. As Adair comes in and bowls to Lewis, and Lewis this time is swinging this down to short flying leg. There's no run. 1 ball left in the over. 37 out loss. Simmons got a single in the end. 24 he has. Lewis has got 13. But the West Indies obviously have the intention to get on with it. And tries to take a stupendous catch. In the end, he does a great set of fielding to stop the ball from going for 4. And I think they just got a single, but they're going to go up the stairs just to review that to make sure that the ball did not go into the boundary. Let's have a look at it. He couldn't take the catch. He pulled it back. He's in the boundary now. Oh, I think he might have encroached. He might have been touching the ball when he was over the boundary. That's going to be a tight one for Jacqueline Williams to decide. Let's have a look at it here now. He's over the boundary, touching the ball, 4 runs. That's 4 runs. Must be given 4. He was touching the ball while he was over the boundary. That should be signal 4. Let's see if Jacqueline Williams will make that decision now. She's communicating to Gregory Baffett, the standing umpire, but I reckon that's going to be a signal 4. We're still waiting for the decision. She's having another look at it. The ball went down to the boundary. He pulled it back, but while he was over the boundary, he touched the ball. So 4 runs is now being given. So a boundary there to end the 5th over. 41 without loss. Simmons has 24. Lewis has 17. With the West Indies need 139 to win. More from Victor Eddy. It's going to be Samuel Badri in a minute. And also he'll be joined by John Kenny.
Yes, and thank you very kindly, dear Barry, who usually gets it right consistently. Barry Wilkinson, you heard the voice there. And assessing that run out. Very crucial one into the paint, but it went for 4. So good evening to you once again, John Kenny.
Yeah, Ireland should have had a wicket though. That wasn't great from Balbirnie. Here comes Young into the attack, and he is immediately greeted with Simmons cracking him straight back over his head for a big 6, huge 6. 47 without loss now. Win the 6th over, and the West Indies chasing a relatively small total of 139. 47 without loss. Simmons onto 30.
Yes, and Simmons usually a hard strike off the ball. His shot selection there was good, but I alluded earlier, John, that indiscretions are not appropriate for the West Indies in approaching this total.
Now here comes Young past umpire Gossard, and this one cracked away, and it's going to go for a second consecutive 6, and he's getting the treatment here, Young. It went straight over Harry Tector's head to the cover boundary, and 2 sixes in a row takes the West Indies past 50-53 without loss.
Yes, and it was a delivery short outside the off stump, and Lyndon Simmons had the valuable reasons of extending the arms and executing it over extra cover. Well, it actually struck a Sandals signboard on the eastern side of the ground here at Warner Park, so a good 6.
Here comes Young again. He's got to try and stymie the runs. This one is down to Andy Balbirnie, who makes a good stop. There was a single perhaps in that, but it's a case of stand and deliver time from Lyndon Simmons' point of view. He refused that. Balbirnie would be disappointed in the fact that he didn't get rid of Lewis. There was a high steepling chance in the last over as well. He made his ground, but as the ball came down towards him, he started to move towards his left-hand side, and the ball went straight through his hands, and it was criticising the West Indian fielding while they were bowling. That wasn't great from Balbirnie. Ireland have been pretty good in the field in the ODIs and the T20s as well. Young, this one, well, it's outside of the bat. If there was a first slip in there, he was out. Simmons, but it's gone for 4. He moves to 40, and Craig Young has been very expensive in this over. 6-6, dot ball 4. 16 so far from this, his first over, and it's 57 without loss. We're only in the 6th over.
Well, and Lyndon Simmons did the ideal thing, going hard at it, and really, as you quite rightly said, there is no slip, and it went into the third man boundary for 4. So it is obvious that these two, and as Barry Wilkinson was saying earlier when he was on about the Duckworth Lewis, and that is a very important observation and point to make, because that can be a factor in terms of the result of this very third and final 2020.
Well, it's just a run of ball really. They need now 82 from 86 deliveries. Young in again, and let's try to swish it. Did Simmons, got nothing on it, so a welcome dot ball from Ireland, leaves it at 57 without loss. Lewis at 17. Hasn't looked in the most commanding of batting form in this particular innings, but Simmons certainly has punished the bad balls. That was threw that ball too early, actually went under his bat, taken by Gary Wilson. This will be the last ball then of the power play. Ireland were 50 without loss themselves, 57 without loss the West Indies. That's a good stop, a backward point by Paul Sterling, and the attempted throw at the stumps, and Mark Adair doesn't do some great fielding either, and they're throwing the ball all over the place here, and the West Indies are thinking about perhaps they might get a run. It went from left to right and all over the place again. Finally we finished the power play, 57 without loss. Simmons on 40, Lewis on 17, 82 needed from 84 deliveries.
And John, ever so often you always hear the saying that do not run off of a misfield or anything like that.
Don't run on a misfield unless you can run 2.
Unless you can run 2. I will always remember that one, John. Unless you can run 2, don't run off of a misfield. And especially for those young cricketers or aspiring cricketers who might be listening to the broadcast from a misfield, don't run 1 if you cannot get 2. But at the same time, though, the Evan Lewis' role here, John, can be very important in terms of supporting Lindell, whereby Lindell is on the go. Not saying if he get bad deliveries, he shouldn't try to execute it, but just to keep in the exchange of strike, it would be very important as the partnerships look very good for the West Indies here at this particular moment.
Ireland were 61 for 2, the West Indies 57 without loss. Here comes Singh, and it's played around the corner by Lewis, and nicely done as well. Beats the man at short fine leg, which is Josh Little, and runs to the boundary. Simi Singh went for 11 in his first over. He's gone for 4 in his first delivery of second, and the total on to 61.
Yes, and he Lewis was patient. He took his time, and he timed it well because he was not trying to hit it hard.
Well, Sterling and Kevin O'Brien, when they were at bat for Ireland, went off like a steam train. These two are batting well here in tandem. Lewis punches that into the offside, and there is one more to the total out to Harry Tector, the young 20-year-old from Dublin, who has a good arm on him, and that's why he's out there. Delaney on one side, Tector on the other. 1 to the total, 62 without loss. Simmons 40, Lewis on 22. Simmons looks imperious out there. He's scored a 40 off just 24 deliveries, and the run rate is hovering in around 5.5 and over. So they can take their time here. Simmons is dispensed with a helmet, not even wearing a cap. It's a nice night here, thankfully. The lights twinkling away to our left-hand side. It means there's no rain so far, and that's a lovely shot from Simmons, who just premeditated that one, stepped away from the stumps, pulled the left leg clear, and then hammered it into the leg side for another 6. and 68 without loss, and he's moving closer to his 50, 46 without loss now.
Yes, and really another good boundary by Lyndall Simmons. And Lyndall Simmons knows the nature of this Warner Park pitch here very well. He has been very successful in his career, especially here at Warner Park, but overall has been a successful. And actually 81 legal deliveries to be bowled, 71 runs is what is required. So the West Indies is on par. John.
Yeah, they're well in command because Ireland lost wickets at will after the dismissal of Sterling and also Kevin O'Brien. Here comes Simmons facing again. That's cracked down the ground, but there is a man down there. That's Kevin O'Brien. He'll cut that off at long on. And the nephew of Coach Phil Simmons, Lyndall Simmons, the 25-year-old from Trinidad, moves one closer to his 50, 47 without loss, and he has a quizzical look at the bottom of his bat.
Well, that is for the second time. I think in one or two previous overs before. Yeah, that was the same thing.
Singh around the wicket then to Lewis, the left-hander, cuts it. Tector's down there, though, protecting that cover boundary, and there will be 70 needed now from 80 balls, and Simi Singh has been expensive. Last ball of this, his second over. He's gone for 24 runs so far. The man from the Punjab in India, who declared for Ireland a couple of years ago, and is now a fully fledged Irish international. The 32-year-old bowling from the southern end. Bowling his off breaks, gone back to over the wicket to Simmons. Simmons gets a better delivery, pushes it back to the bowler, fields off his own bowling, and at the end of that, the 7th over, West Indies well in command here, 70 without loss, looking to square the series. Ireland won the first game, a thriller in Grenada. The second match washed out last night, so no result in the end. Well, not totally washed out. We did get an Ireland innings, but it was abandoned in the West Indian innings. And this one, we did have a 40-minute delay for rain after the dismissal of Kevin O'Brien, but so far so good in terms of the weather. And I know Ireland would like to have seen a lot of rain and maybe won the series 1-0, but, and I know you mentioned the World Cup as well, but I do, probably from the West Indies point of view, well, obviously Barry is saying, it's months off, don't be worrying about it too much. But Ireland certainly are building here. They got a new T20 squad, really, a new T20 captain, and Balbirnie wants to find basically what his best 11 will be come the World Cup at the end of the year.
Totally in agreement with you, and preparation is always such a high aspect in terms of going into any form of series for that matter, John, and this has been a good tour for Ireland.
Josh Little, a 20-year-old left arm bowler. This one off the back of the hand gets the treatment from Evan Lewis. It was premeditated as well, and he whacks it straight back over the bowler's head and into the stand. The pavilion away to our right hand side, and Lewis has gone to 29, another maximum. They need 63 now for victory.
Well, and these two batsmen, John, one, you cannot afford to give them anything loose, because they capitalize on those loose deliveries so elegantly and quickly. And having a mid-pitch conversation now, you can imagine what they might be saying, probably.
Well, I'll tell you what they're saying now. They're saying new balls, please, because that's gone off into the road.
Well, I do not live too far from here.
Yeah, you can pick it up on your way home.
I just live across the road, so I hope it's not smashing any of my glasses at the residence.
Just pick it up on your way home. You'll be grand.
Having said that, though, that this is a very good partnership, and these two are a very good pair for the West Indies in 2020 cricket. But many concerns would still be existing of a lot of pundits that they will have to be very much consistent on their shot selection. But anything loose, they are so good, and no, obviously boundaries will come their way. But how also important it is to exchange the strike. 63 more runs is required by the West Indies. 77 legal deliveries still to be bowled. So West Indies, they are still far above the required run rate.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Ireland was 74 for 2, 76 without loss at this particular juncture. That beats the bowler. There is a man down here, though. Barry McCarthy comes in from a position at long off to cut off any chance of a boundary there. 77 without loss. Josh Little has gone for 6 and 1 in this over so far. Just 6 from his first over, the left-hander.
And what is very important too with this partnership, knowing that the Duckworth Lewis can come into play, I can see the reasons now why these two have really accelerated the scoring rate like they have done, and they continue to do it well here at Warner Park.
Josh Little's taken 10 wickets in his 13 T20s to date. As a best of 3 for 29, and that was in game 1 in Grenada on Wednesday. He bowled extremely well, especially at the death. When,
very important.
Very important when the West Indies looked like they were going to win that match. Here he comes again, and this one has gone for 6, the mid-wicket boundary. And is there anybody out there to catch it? In fact, it drops off the scoreboard, I think, and then 3 or 4 young lads on the banking out there collected and throw the ball back to Gareth Delaney. But all he had to do was just collect that ball and watch it sail sweetly over his head. That was a nicely timed shot. And this is an expensive over from Little. Has gone for 13 and three balls.
Well, also too on the other side of it now, whereby if the bowler is going to remove Lyndon Simmons, he will be better off if he produces a very good delivery, but not really giving you a wicket away. But his shot selection is good, making use of the deliveries that are very short or when they are over pitch. Well, we see the bowler now changing sides of the wicket, so let us see if there will be a difference.
And we must mention, of course, Lyndon Simmons has gone to 50. 53 now, his 7th 50 in T20 internationals. That one bowled at his leg, whipped down to McCarthy at long on, and 1 to the total. 84 without loss, 55 needed now from 74 balls, so the required run rate below 5 and over. So with wicket in hand, West Indies are in the box seat.
Yes, right on par. And Lyndon Simmons is an all-around batsman in my estimation, and coming from the island of Trinidad, who has had a reputation of producing good spinners, and very, very good spinners indeed. And also to playing fast bowling, he's equally well and a very good player. And he continues to prove that. Well, Evan Lewis, on the other hand, he has come back magnificently into form. He went through an area where he had a lull.
Little goes around the wicket now to Lewis, and it's wide. A long hop, but bounced tennis ball like straight into Gary Wilson's hands. 85 without loss.
Well, and that will also add to the incentive for the West Indies in terms of getting to the total of 139 for victory. They have gone way below now 5. They are actually a current run rate at 4.38. So these two, most likely, if they can carry it right through or very close, this would be a very good start.
Here comes Little again around the wicket to Lewis, who tries to just cut it. It wasn't a very elegant stroke, not a lot of foot movement, just a waft of the bat at that one, and it went straight through to Wilson. Remains 85 without loss.
Well, probably if he was thinking then, John, of just placing some emphasis on timing and placement, he might have gotten it. But by nature, Evan Lewis is more of the player who looks to hit the ball hard most of the times.
Man of the series in the ODI internationals, Evan Lewis, the left-hander. 32 internationals, T20 internationals, that is. Hammers down the ground, and that's going to beat the attempts of Barry McCarthy to cut that out, and that's gone for a boundary. And it's Lewis onto 34. The end of the 8th over, 89 without loss. 50 needed to win.
Yes, and 50 needed of 72 legal deliveries. So there is no pressure on both batsmen, but they are going along quite elegantly, and their shot selection has been very good. And if they can even get to the total without losing a wicket, that will even make equaling the series so much more outstanding from a West Indian point of view.
Just showed the way Ireland batted when they were put into bat. They made 54 in the 4th over. They only scored 90 odd runs in the remaining 16 overs, so that tells its own tale.
Yes, indeed, it tells its own tale. While still the adjustments have to be made because the right-hander will be on strike. Evan Lewis is the left-hander. He's the non-striker. And
Simmons on 54. He's going to face Mark Adair now from the southern end as he bowls now. And that's straight back to the bowler. A swipe at it from Simmons. And Adair saw him coming, dropped it short.
What is the description of that stroke, John? I did not hear that.
I don't know. Was it kind of a tennis-y kind of shot, really? Just trying to whack it back over the net, but it was straight back to the bowler. So remains on 89 without loss. Here he comes again. Adair bowls lovely right up at the block hole. That's good cricket all round there, really. Simmons a little bit surprised, had to dig that one out. Yorker length.
Yes, and that was a very good thinking on behalf of the bowler, putting it right up into the block hole. But Lyndon Simmons was equally to the delivery by getting it. He's on the low part of his bat, and quite rightly so kept him out. But this has been a very good innings by Lyndon Simmons so far.
He's on 54 from 31 deliveries. Facing Adair again from the southern end, and that's swiped away. There's a man over there, but that's Harry Tector, and all he can do is watch that sail over his head again, and that's gone for yet another maximum. And West Indies closing in on 3 figures, 95 without loss. 7 fours, and that one was an 8th 6 of this innings.
Yes, and Lyndon Simmons, he's so quick in recognizing anything loose, and most of the times with loose deliveries he will strike a 6, and that was no difference in his shot selection and how well he bisected. Even though there was a square leg and a mid wicket, it went actually for 6 between the 2 fieldsmen who were placed in the deep.
Yeah, Dare tried to drop that one short, but Simmons was onto it like a flash. 44 more needed. Here comes Adair bowling to Simmons. Ireland need wickets now, but that one's cracked down the ground. There is a man though long off, and they run through for a single. Adair can't field, close to the stumps, but Wilson backs up the throw, and it's 96 without loss now. Adair has gone for 7 in his second over. 96 without loss. A bit of adjustment now in the field. Adair and Balbirnie in conversation. He's going to push Josh Little down to well, he was initially going to push Josh Little down to 3rd man, but they've got 2 in the circle at shortish 3rd men. Just behind square is Little, and Sterling is a short 3rd man. Tector's been pushed back onto the cover boundary, and behind square is Simi Singh. So they've moved quite a few of their players around for this delivery from Adair, and Tector has to go and run after that as Lewis pushes it into the covers for a single. 139 needed for victory. 97 without loss coming to the end of the 9th over.
Yes, and these two fully in command and large and in charge. They are really executing their stroke play quite nicely, right and left-hander. It is always very challenging for teams when there is a left and right-hander, especially in the context of this international encounter.
Adair bowling to Simmons. And they need wickets now. Well, West Indies have got to 3 figures in the best way possible. The end of that Adair over has gone for yet another maximum, and Lewis getting in on the action. 35 from 20 deliveries, whacks it, and the 3 figures are up. 103 without loss at the end of 9.
Yes, and this has been a magnificent start, and a lovely 6 once again by Lyndon Simmons, who is really racing on here. 36 more runs required, so it's not an equation now about the deliveries to be bowled. They are way above what is required, so these two also have an opportunity to spend time at the crease and even to come not out, which will do or does a lot of good for their averages in terms of 2020 cricket.
9 sixes, 7 fours.
Wow.
So far in this 103, and plenty of happy faces around the ground from the West Indies point of view. Night has fallen, and no threat of rain, thankfully. We can still see those lights away to the left hand side. That means that the cloud cover hasn't moved in.
That's in Birdrock area, yes,
yeah,
right.
and well, we've got to get a full game in, it looks like. Simmons on 67, Lewis on 35. They're getting to this figure in quite a hurry. 103 without loss as Barry McCarthy comes on from the media end, and it's out to Gareth Delaney sweeping on the cover boundary for 104 without loss.
And that was so much more a pleasant stroke by Evan Lewis, whereby he
Effortless,
just
wasn't it?
timed it, he caressed it.
That's the word I'm looking for.
As you will say,
caressed it.
He caressed it. And really,
effortlessly caressed it.
Yes. Well, you will put it more explicit. There is no surprise there.
It was a nice shot, all right. It's one that you could feel the ball hitting the middle of the bat.
Because when the nature of the pitch as it is here at Warner Park, a lot of time the emphasis can be on placement and not so much more all the time on power. Well, power is for the short deliveries like Lyndall Simmons have demonstrated and executed it well. But I think they have worked it out well, both Evan and Lyndall. And from here on in, from a West Indian point of view, the fans will hope, and the supporters of West Indies cricket, especially in 2020, will hope that this can only be improved and as matches go on. And Ireland, though, would feel good about this tour, in my view, though, John, of the West Indies, especially the success that they have had. And they will see areas where they will have, obviously, where they can improve their all-around cricket.
No, Ireland trying to think this one out, even though the West Indies are well on top here. Bob Burney's moved 3 or 4 players around again as McCarthy comes around the wicket. And Simmons cracks him down the ground. Delaney's there. They might come back for a second run here. Chest in the arm of Delaney. And Delaney has got a very good arm. Barry McCarthy can't collect it as they run through for a second. And Lewis gets home safely to make it 106 without loss now. And another look by Simmons at the end of his bat. May need to change it. He throws his head back in anguish. Maybe his favourite bat is cracked.
Well, a lot of times, apart from the favourite bat, some cricketers are suspicious. They like to always use pads and bats that they get runs in. And when that happens, because you can see a little disappointment in the terms of Simmons. Not how he is actually batting, because he's batting beautifully, but probably because, as you might quite rightly too, that the bat that he more favours is gone now, and he has to
the one he got for his birthday.
The one he got for his birthday
has been
our
cracked.
Christmas present.
A Christmas present, exactly. But he looked very displeased when
Yes,
he found
it
out that it was cracked, and he had to call for a replacement. Simmons on 69, 106 without loss. We're in the 10th over. McCarthy's bowling. He's gone for 18 and 1.2 overs so far. 3 from his second over. The writing's pretty much on the wall for Ireland. Target is 139. McCarthy bowls to Simmons, who tries to crack it onto the offside. Got a ticket inside edge, squirted to the leg. No run. 106 without loss it remains.
Well, John, on your first visit to the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, but in particular St. Kitts, because there is not much time where you can get an opportunity to go over by a ferry to Nevis.
No, and I was only here
next
Friday.
time around.
Yeah, exactly. Only arrived on Friday. I'm going home tomorrow.
And next time around.
And it rains non-stop since I've been here, which is a shame. Barry McCarthy bowls a wide. 32 now make it needed from 63 balls. McCarthy bending his back and just losing his length. 107 without loss.
And these two batsmen, they have an excellent opportunity by coming not out, because we are looking now 32 needed runs, and the legal deliveries to be bowled is of a high percentage. So no doubt, no pressure. So they should just be thinking about their personal contributions now.
Here comes McCarthy again, going round the wicket to Simmons, but it makes no difference at all, because Simmons has hammered that back straight into the pavilion to our right hand side, and yet another 6. That's 10 sixes in this innings, 113 without loss. Ireland are heading for a heavy defeat here, and the West Indies on the way to squaring this 3-match series.
Yes, and Lyndall Simmons is very much liked here in St. Kitts and Nevis, because they have seen him here on ever so often, and most of the times when he plays here at Warner Park, he has gotten good scores. Well, this has a long-standing history, Warner Park. Some 92 years of cricket has been played here at this venue. The first Leeward Islands cricket tournament, Inter-Island tournament, it started in the year 1928. So added history, and Lyndall Simmons is adding some good history to the Warner Park venue. He continues on one of his favourite grounds to score prolific.
Simmons, change of bat hasn't made any difference to him as he faces McCarthy, and again that's down the ground. That should go for 4 and beat Young, and he's done so, and he moves on to 79. 82 is his highest total, 82 not out. Lyndall Simmons, he's 3 short of that now, 22 needed. 117 without loss coming towards the end of the 10th over.
Yes, and this is an exceptional knock by Lyndall Simmons, a man who is very good batsman, is Lyndall Simmons. Actually, in all formats, I think he's a relatively very good batsman. He plays spin bowling very good too, because he's from an island that has produced many very good spinners, and but most of the Trinidad batsmen, and Brian Charles Lara, the leading one in that capacity, has also demonstrated that he has equaled all the great spinners where he have played, and Simmons, not in the same capacity, but a very good batsman.
Yeah, T20 specialist, Mumbai Indians, St Kitts and Nevis Patriots, St Lucia Stars. And this one, as McCarthy goes around the wicket, is again dispatched for the maximum, and the change of bat has brought about another 6. 16 now needed. We're going to have an early night.
Well, indeed, and we can see the joy of the spectators' faces here at Warner Park, really enjoying the response by the West Indies in pursuit of 139 for victory. They're actually 123 without loss. So, John, it appears like what I've been saying, that these two now, with just 16 more runs off 60 legal deliveries, would be thinking about their personal knock, and Simmons again changing the helmet. For a moment it seemed like we losing a little sounds through our microphones. Have you been experiencing it, John? Are we all right? Okay.
Simi Singh is going to continue now. He's gone for 24 in his 2 overs so far. McCarthy bowling that last ball wide of the crease, but flash of the blade sent that into the scoreboard side of the ground at the mid-wicket over Gareth Delaney's head. And Simmons, well, he's looking pretty good, isn't he?
9:17. Yeah.
9:17. That's the time it is here.
Eastern Caribbean.
Wherever you're listening, Eastern Caribbean time. Singh goes around the wicket, bowling to Lewis, who punches that into the offside marker there. In fact, it's the captain, Andy Balbirnie, who cuts that off, and it remains on 123 with that loss. I certainly have enjoyed my time in the Caribbean, the 3 one-day internationals, alongside Barry Wilkinson, and also the 3 T20s, as that one is going to go down the ground and over the fielder's head. The long on fielder down there, Kevin O'Brien, it's gone into the stand, and that's gone for 6, and just 10 more needed now. 129 without loss, with a target 139.
Yes, and an excellent performance by these 2 batsmen for the West Indies.
They're not hanging around. They're just not hanging around.
They're not hanging around, and quite rightly so, because the Duckworth Lewis could have come into the equation.
Here comes Singh again around the wicket, much flatter delivery, but this one is cracked down the ground past the bowler, and that's a 6 of the previous ball and 4 in that, and it's high time we get out of here, really. As somebody said, start the tuk-tuk, but we're in the wrong part of the world for that one, really. So let's start the taxi.
Well, John, I mean, I know that there is a BBC special, and no doubt some years ago you would have had some experience in working for the BBC.
I have, yes. I've been very lucky in my career to work for BBC Test Match Special, but working with Barry Wilkinson, well, that's just a joy. That ball is in the air. Here's a chance for a wicket for Ireland. Wilson takes it, and finally, Lewis is out, gone for 46, and Ireland get their first wicket with the score on 133, so they avoid the whitewash.
I like that. I like that final comment. There is some other comment in the boot, though. I did not pick up that one clearly. What was it, Barry?
The clean sheet.
I think
that's
what was the comment?
The clean sheet, yes.
Oh, the clean sheet. Okay, right. I had the microphones on. The clean sheet. But also, too, this is a very
so let's say
good
the
performance.
ignominy of a 10-wicket defeat. That's what has been avoided. The ignominy of it all.
Yeah. So, what did you like most about the BBC special, though?
Just how relaxed it is. It's as I say, working with the likes of Barry here in the West Indies. It's pretty similar. It's talk about cricket. If you get knowledge about cricket, do your broadcasts. Never miss a ball. That's the most important thing. Never miss a ball, especially on radio. And if you stick by that number one principle, you can't really go wrong. My first 15 minutes was Ireland against Zimbabwe in the 2007 World Cup. Which was played in Kingston, Jamaica. It's probably one of the worst broadcasts I've ever done, but it just took a long time for me to settle down, and thankfully I've worked across the world as a cricket commentator as well, not just in Ireland, but also in places like New Zealand and Australia, and now again here in the West Indies. I certainly have enjoyed my time. Here comes Singh, bowling to the new batsman, which is Nicholas Pooran, who's been pushed up the order to get these last couple of runs. 134 without loss cities immediately off the mark. And 5 more needed.
Well, and I truly appreciate your presence, first of all.
Thank you very much.
To the visitation, your first visit to the island of St. Kitts, but to the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, and also in your deliberations. I've enjoyed sitting beneath you or beside you and really learning a lot.
Well, every day's a school day, they say. 134 for 1. Singh comes in with just 5 more needed, and that's it. Thank you and good night. Lendl Simmons races past his highest score. He's gone to 91, not out. That ends the innings as he cracks that over the mid-wicket boundary past Harry Tector, and the West Indies win by 9 wickets in this third T20 international here at St. Kitts, and it levels up the series at a match apiece. The second match was rained off, unfortunately, but Ireland won a thriller in Grenada, but this time they were put to the sword. 1-1 in the T20 series. Ireland should really have won the second one-day international, but the West Indies won the one-day international series 3-0, and that ends this series between the West Indies and Ireland. Plenty of handshakes going on down there. Ireland have been pretty competitive, it has to be said, in both the one-day and the T20 formats. Today, again, a little bit put to the sword because they started so well with Kevin O'Brien and Paul Sterling, and a nice contribution of 28 from Andy Balbirnie, but outside of that, an 18 from McCarthy was the only ones that put up any real resistance when Ireland made 138. Lendl Simmons unbeaten on 91, Nicholas Pooran on 1, and the West Indies made 140 for 1 to win by 9 wickets, and the T20 series has ended all square.
Yes, and also what a good note for the West Indies to equal the series and conclude the series by such a convincing way. In so doing, Ireland scored 139, and then the West Indies did it by only losing 1 wicket. So it's not just equaling the series, but in the way that they have done so. Well, John and Kenny, you're gonna definitely now make your final exit.
Yeah, so I'm just going to hand it over to Barry Wilkinson so he can wrap things up. Just to give you how the match went. Ireland lost the toss, put into bat. They made 138 all out, 19.1 overs. Highest score, 36 from Kevin O'Brien, 28 from Andy Balbirnie, 18 from Barry McCarthy. Best of the bowlers, Kieran Pollard, 4 overs, 3 for 17. Dwayne Bravo, 3 overs for 19. West Indies, in reply, Lendl Simmons, 91 and out, the only wicket to fall. Evan Lewis caught Wilson, Bowl Singh for 46. Nicholas Pooran unbeaten on 1 at the finish, and they made 140 for 1 to win by 9 wickets. I've enjoyed my time in the West Indies. It's time to go home and pack the bags and head for the hills and back to my usual job in RTE and Gaelic football and soccer and the Olympics and all of that as well. But I've had a terrific time here in the West Indies, and thanks to Barry as well. I'm going to hand it over to him just to wrap things up after a final word from you.
Yes, and I would like to also thank you to John Kenny for your presence here. You have been added and very valuable contributors to the broadcast. And Barry, what a resounding and convincing victory for the West Indies, not just equal in the series, but in the way it was done. And many commendations due, first of all, to Kieran Pollard, his bowling in the abandoned match, but more so in this match, being victorious. But the start by Evan Lewis and Lendl Simmons, I thought it was superb, and we will hope a level of consistency can continue in that vein for these two very valuable opening batsmen for the West Indies in 2020 cricket.
Yeah, you're right. I think we will look forward to that. What's going to be interesting is to see who will get the man of the match. Who's your man of the match? We had Pollard 3 for 17, Bravo 3 for 19, and Lendl Simmons 91 not out. Who would you choose?
Well, I will give Lendl Simmons 91 not out. And in that sense, really, probably then if Pollard had an opportunity to come into bat and did something respectfully, but that 91 not out, I think it set the foundation of the conclusion in the way that this final 2020 went.
I would give the Almighty Father, because I did not think there would have been any cricket here today, honestly. It rained all day and it rained all night, and he cleared the way. He made a way where we didn't think there was a way.
And it takes none other than Barry Wilkinson to observe the most relevant, the most important, and it's truly appreciated. We must give thanks to God Almighty for giving us a pleasant night tonight, and even as we said earlier, Barry, the spectators might have been turned off because they might have said to themselves, some more rain is going to come. But we are seeing them gathering down beneath us now, so it's back to you, Barry.
So we had 6 games in this series with Ireland. 3 ODIs, Windies won 3-0, and 3 T20s. One was washed out, it finished 1-1. We're going to go down to Samuel Badri in a minute. He's going to announce who is his man of the match, and we'll also get an interview from him. Let's join Samuel Badri.
Clinical performance, man of the match for his unbeaten 91 of 40. He'll receive his man of the match award from Mr. Roger Harper, chief selector of Cricket West Indies. Excellent innings there from Lindell. And if you can join me here for a quick chat, Lindell, first of all, congratulations on that knock. Tell us a little bit about the surface.
Well, from playing yesterday, we see it was a good surface. With the rain that fall, the ball slide onto the bat. It was a proper batting surface.
We've seen a certain level of maturity in your batting of late. Are you pleased with the way you're going, and are you learning your batting even more now?
I guess every team I go in, I have a different role. My role in this team is to go hard in the power play. We have a lot of depth in our batting. So playing different franchise as well, you learn a lot. And it's just about knowing your game now.
And tell us a little bit of your form. So many sixes, so many fours, 40 deliveries, 91. Are you a little bit upset you didn't get that 100?
No, so the game goes. I just have the freedom to go there and express myself and have the license to go there and do what I do best. So coming from Bangladesh, I have some form. So coming into this tournament, I didn't get a score in the first game, second game, but I got a score in this game, and I'm happy with it.
And looking towards the World Cup in a few months' time, are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I guess I missed out last World Cup being injured. This World Cup is 8 months away, and we have a lot to prepare, a lot to get going right. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Congratulations and well played.
Thank you.
I think Lendl Simmons has got a bit of amnesia. He played in the last World Cup.
And he
was actually a star in the last World Cup. I wonder if he's thinking about the 50 over World Cup.
It might have been.
He's probably thinking about 50 over World Cup, but
he didn't specify it, but possibly it was that event, but he didn't specify it.
Because Lendl Simmons in the last T20 World Cup was the main man. In fact, it was because of Lendl Simmons that the West Indies got to the final.
Yeah.
He had a masterful innings where he got man of the match against India at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai, and he got the West Indies to the World Cup final. So I think he was probably thinking about the 50 over World Cup. So
let's give him the benefit.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We're going to have the scorecard being read in a minute, but we're going to also hear from the 2 captains, Andrew Balbirnie and Kieran Pollard. Let's give you the full scorecard, though. West Indies, of course, chasing 139 to win, finished on 140 for 1. Earlier, Sterling was LBW to Bravo for 11. O'Brien caught Hetmar correction ball, Pollard 36. Balbirnie run out for 28. Delaney caught Puran ball, Pollard 6. Tector caught Puran ball, Pollard 1. Wilson caught Simmons ball, Shepherd 7. Adair run out for 6. Simi Singh caught Cottrell ball, Rutherford 5. McCarthy was not out on 18. Young caught Simmons ball, Bravo 8. And Little caught Puran ball, Bravo for 5. 138 all out, 7 extras, 5 leg byes and 5 wide. 5 leg byes and 2 wides, sorry. Wickets falling at 50, 55, 74, 76, 93, 94, 107, 108, 125 and 138. Cottrell, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 33. Shepherd, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 37. Pollard, 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 17. Bravo, 3 overs and 1 ball, no maiden, 3 for 19. Walsh, 1 over that cost 6 runs, and Rutherford, 3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 21. The Windies chasing 139 from 20. Well, they were off to a flyer thanks to Lendl Simmons, the eventual man of the match. Boy, he was in fantastic form. 91 not out from 40 balls. He carved 10 sixes and 5 fours, with Evan Lewis, who got out in the end, caught Wilson ball, Simi Singh 46, the keeper. He went for 46 from 25 balls, 3 sixes and 4 fours. These two make an excellent opening partnership. Puran was 1 not out. I really don't see a need. Once these two remain fit, I don't see a need for Chris Gayle in this team. That's just my thought.
Okay, and really,
yeah,
I would agree with that, and the sense of how they are as a pair. But also, too, out of the whole series that you would have seen, Barry, you would have had some concerns. We know the interview is getting ready, but I would like to hear some of the concerns that you would like to see be addressed for the West Indies team going forward, what you have observed, but no doubt after the interview, because it seems like Samuel Badri now has Captain Pollard. appears like as the first. So after, no doubt, you can shed some light from your observations.
Yeah, we'll definitely shed some light about that after the captain's interviews. Sammy Badger is going to talk to Karen Pollard in a minute. Sterling, for the meantime, 1 over, no made and none for 1. McCarthy, 2 overs, no made and none for 35. Simi Singh, 3 overs, no made and 1 for 41. Little, 2 overs, no made and none for 25. Adair, 2 overs, no made and none for 22. And Young, 1 over, no made and none for 16. The Windies winning comfortably by 9 wickets. The series ends 1-all for the second time. They also had a 20 in 2013, 2014. There was a 1-all finish, and this also finishes 1-all. So, congratulations to the man of the match. Let's now hear, we heard from Lendl Simmons. Let's now hear from the captains, Karen Pollard and Aljo Balbirnie. They are at the moment with none other than Samuel Badri, who will no doubt find out from the captains how they feel about this particular series, and also the 50 over series, as that also came to a climax after 10 days of some very exciting and competitive cricket. Here's Sammy Badri.
By the West Indies cricket team to draw this series 1 apiece, and we're getting set for the post-match ceremony. First of all, we want to congratulate Karen Pollard being adjudged man of the series. He will collect his check from the representative from Sandals. Karen, if you could join me quickly here for a quick chat. First of all, tell us about your bowling. 3 wickets in this match, 4 wickets yesterday. You must love this venue.
Yeah, I'm disappointed we don't have a game tomorrow again. But no, the team called upon me, to do a job. Sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone. Bowling in power play today is not something I've done, on a regular basis, but it's something that was needed. And, these are the times you want to step up, for your team, not only being the leader, but, having an impact on the game as well. So, again, that's all it was. I back myself, I back my skills, and then we were able to pull it back, in the back end.
But it must be a little bit of a concern for you, the start that the opposition batting is getting in these games?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that, we really need to look at. We need to have that impetus, with that new ball. We need to get early wickets. We can't have teams, getting off to 40, 50 in the first 3 and 4 overs. That spells, disaster. So, against, better oppositions, higher rank oppositions as well. So, again, this is a cause for concern. But again, the guys were, pretty, long tournament, straight after the New Year break, guys coming in the back end. So, don't want to make any excuses for that, but I think we need to improve that area.
And just slower balls, that's all you're bowling these days. Are you surprised by your success?
Not really. Slowest. Sometimes I think about if I have to bat myself, how far I'm going to hit myself. But again, I've played a lot of cricket. Again, it's not only about the slow balls as well as about the lines and the lengths and, using the breeze and these sort of things. So there's a lot of different things that comes into play. And again, you only learn that, from playing cricket and again, playing around the world and, understanding the art of bowling. You use your strengths and that's what it is. We have Bravo as well. He has done that. And that's what I want the younger guys, to do, learn their game, learn their aspects, understand the situation, and once they do that, it's going to be beneficial for the team.
Congratulations on your Man of the Series award. You'll join me back shortly for a quick chat. I'll ask the losing captain, Andy Balbirnie, to join me here now. And as he makes his way here, Cricket West Indies would like to thank its sponsors, the T20 series and team sponsors, Sandals Resort, betting partner Betway, and water partner Blue Waters for their continued support. Andy, 50 without loss in 3.4 overs, 138, simply not good enough.
No, absolutely not. We were outclassed in all facets today. We started very well, like we have in most of the games, but when you lose wickets in clusters like that against a team like the West Indies, you have no chance.
We've noticed you, as you mentioned, losing wicket in clusters, but not only that, the manner of the dismissal is very soft. It must be a concern.
Yeah, they were soft. We've batted quite well this tour, to have a couple of run-outs, a couple of soft nicks. It's hugely disappointing. We came into this game firing and we just didn't manage to put in a performance. It's hugely disappointing. But I suppose to draw a series against the West Indies, we can take positives from that. And
definitely 3-0 in the ODI, 1-all in the T20 internationals. If you can sum up your learnings from this tour.
Yeah, we've had a lot of guys who've come out and played in their first sort of series against a big nation. Harry Tector, Gareth Delaney, these sort of guys. So it's great to give them that exposure. Obviously in T20 cricket, all our cricket is leading up to that World T20 and getting out of that group. So look, the guys are hurting, but they'll learn from it, and that's all you can ask in these environments.
Thank you very much, Andy, and a lot of learnings. All the best as you move forward in 2020 towards that World Cup.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone in the Caribbean for making us feel so welcome.
Pleasure, and 1-all in this series, and I could call on the winning captain, Karen Pollard, to join me here for a quick chat. Karen, that bowling display must have been satisfied after the start to peg them back for 138?
Yeah, of course. It's a small ground. You don't want them to get off, to exceedingly quick start, and that's exactly what happened. And it was important that we pull them back because we could have been chasing, 170, 180 odd. On this wicket with the weather around, you're always going to put yourself under pressure. So again, to peg them back, for 138, I think was fantastic by the guys.
And a lot of opportunities for a lot of players as we look towards that World T20 in October. Are you satisfied with the way the players are responding?
Yeah, we're responding, 75 to 80%, of the times. Again, as I said in the break, it took some stern words from the coach, for us to come back out and show that sort of intensity what we showed in that game yesterday. So, that's an area for me, why can't we do the same things day in, day out? At the end of the day, we're doing something that we love. Not many people get the opportunity to do that. So, again, some of the conversations, have been, we have the opportunity here now. There's a lot of people knocking the door, as well. So, you want to lock down spots because, again, everyone wants to participate in the World Cup. So again, another learning experience for the guys and another opportunity for them. So when we go back, guys will go back and watch themselves in the mirror and see if they did justice to whatever chances they were given.
And Lyndall Simmons, tell us about that knock. Simply sensational.
Yeah, that's the character. Hot today, and then we know how he operates at times. But we love to see when Lendl is in that aggressive sort of mindset. In the moon, he has shots, all around the ground at 360 degrees, and for a little man, he punch a pack as well. So again, for us is for him to aim for that consistency, and when we can get that consistency on the top and that opening combination with him and Evan, I think. That's going to augur well, for us in anything. The start is very, very important. So, again, as I said, he took his opportunity today. I think he got dropped, early on, and he went on to, to finish the game. So that was good. But again, I think the batting throughout, the last couple of months, have been consistent, and we thought that would have been an area of concern. But, the guys are really, really putting the work, and they come in and they're showing that. It's just a matter of, again, tightening up the bowling and tightening up the intensity when it comes to fielding.
1-1 and a series draw. All the best, Karen, as you move forward in the rest of this series. Sorry, not this series, in the rest of the year as we move forward to that World Cup.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A series draw here, 1-1, West Indies, Ireland. And that's it from the presentation ceremony.
Thank you so much, Sammy Badri, and that's going to be it from us. We want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Line and Left Network in association with Cricket West Indies Radio. It's been a very short series, just 6 matches really. I want to thank my commentators, Victor Eddy. Special thanks to John Kenny, who's done a terrific job. Samuel Badri, he's not only been a comments man, he's also been a ball-by-ball commentator. He says he wants to get into ball-by-ball commentary as well. Sammy, thank you so much for coming aboard. And our commentators earlier, Tino Best we had in Barbados, and we also had Cyprian Forsyth, Hendy Wallace as well. Guys, all of you have been really fantastic. We had the Prime Minister of Grenada at one stage. He also came aboard, and it's been really great stuff. I want to thank all of our stations. CBC in Barbados, 94.7, 104.1 FM, The Beat in Barbados, Taj FM in Trinidad and Tobago, WVET in St. Lucia, Grenada Broadcasting in Grenada, Vibes Radio in Dominica, ABS Radio in Antigua, ZIZ here in St. Kitts, and CSS BVI in the British Virgin Islands in Tortola. To all of those who sent us tweets at line length, thank you so much. And of course to our gracious sponsors, Calvin Alkins Custom Services. Calvin, I thank you so much, my friend. You continue to be blessed, and I wish you all the prosperity in 2020, you and your wonderful staff, especially Kimberly. Century 21 in Grenada, Paula Latouche and her staff there, Kaylin Gangadine and Beverly Renwick. You girls are really special. Ocean Terrace Inn here, the #1 hotel to stay at in St. Kitts, overlooking the bay, and Courtesy Rent-A-Car, the #1 rent-a-car in St. Kitts. I'm Barry Wilkinson from St. Kitts saying goodbye, God bless. We give the Almighty thanks for giving us strength and, of course, the grace to do this for you. We look forward to our next assignment as we'll be back here on the Line and Left Network. Thank you so much to everyone. It's bye-bye from St. Kitts.
Gillespie has won the match for the West Indies. The West Indies team run onto the oval, and one of the great results in Test match history has just been witnessed here.
We are party from the daylight. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Everybody let me see you unite. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Fear not, 'cause the vibes is right. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
We are the West Indies. 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 We are the West Indies.
West Indies bring unity to the Caribbean. We rally round each other, and that alone make us strong. One goal in mind, win, lose or draw, we all play as one. If you're proud of your country, let me see you put up your hand. Barbados,
We got it. St. Vincent, we got it.
St. Kitts,
We got it. Trinbago, we got it. Jamaica,
Guyana,
St. Lucia, Antigua, Dominica, Grenada.
We are the West Indies. 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 We are the West Indies.
Gillespie. Has won the match for the West Indies. The West Indies team run onto the oval, and one of the great results in Test match history has just been witnessed here.